Oh wait, we probably shouldn't sit right in front of them.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Here's our game. I was hoping I did that a little bit more. Back here, sorry about that.
Oh, I can't sit here, I'm gonna block the camera.
Yeah.
You can sit
Yeah, let's stay down here. Plug back in.
Right.
What's that? I don't know about that. Okay.
Let's bring it down. Just
How many people left? I mean, on the first day.
We figured that out this morning.
There's some people.
If you want to you're on the Isn't there always? I don't know.
Still working on it, or you play testing? It looked pretty good at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, like the last thing I did today was to, implement like most of the sound effects, structure screen, like more info about the screen, like the game over screen, like the score counter screen. Yeah, like main bug fixing and a lot of testing today, balancing. Pretty good. Really good, I would say.
Yeah. When you were showing me this morning, I was at the state where at 3:30 in the morning when I went to bed, I didn't even know if we'd have a playable game tonight. I'm like, I
feel like more info about the educational side and the instruction screen. We should probably have 40 sides of instruction.
that's awesome. Are you gonna bring it to the Math Digi Game Challenge?
We're thinking about it.
I would do it.
Like when is that and how they submit?
I think that
Alright.
submissions end in 2 weeks.
Is this everybody?
You don't have to have a finished game. It's like a pitch.
No.
Just sign up.
Everybody matters? Alright. Everyone that cheats. Sorry. Okay. I hope you all had fun this weekend. We're going to go through this really, really quick. I want to give a little bit of thanks in the beginning, but we're going to go straight to the presentations. This is probably going to go till about 6:20, 6:30. Afterwards, take all your stuff. If you have some of my stuff, bring it to the first floor. I'll be over there in building 26. Then go upstairs to your rooms, make sure they're all clean. Pick up all your trash. There's trash bags here. Bring those with you. And once you've got everything bagged and tied up and in the hallways, go drink. if you can drink. I don't have anything booked, but there are big places near us. Area 4 is pretty close to us. Mead Hall is further away. Find people and go in big groups. Okay? So thank you to our sponsors. Our sponsors here. Our sponsors here. Hi, Carl. Hi. You're going to come up in after all the presentations? Were you going to come up after the presentations? I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. Okay. So yeah, thank you Mozilla and Game On. Thank you Unity. Thank you you. I ran out of time. Those were supposed to be my volunteers. Thank you Benjamin. Thank you Michael at the camera right now. Thank you Owen. Thank you Learning Games Network, Education Arcade, Games for Change, all y'all who helped set all this stuff up. Our MC Benjamin, who's going to get all you to come down and present your games. And remember, we're doing postmortems, so you got 5 minutes per team, and talk about your practice process, but play your game.
Okay, without further ado, let's start off with Goomba Lab.
Hi, everybody. It's time to wake up. They made us come out from our labs. Also, for anybody who says girls can't make games, our team was half female, so that was pretty awesome. So, I know we're getting a demo set up here, and before we started, I think everybody here probably remembers Jessica's original pitch. She said, Goomba Lab, be a scientist. Her vision was to create a game where middle school players would learn the scientific method by splicing together Goombas and experimenting with their traits within their habitat. But as we explored all of the possible Goomba traits, we found ourselves caught in this struggle. Half the time we found that we were working to really create interesting puzzles, and then we also wanted to keep the focus on exploration and not on just finding some way to get to the end. So during testing, we found that the more animal-like the Goombas looked, the more players focused on Goomba needs, as opposed to focusing on the fact that there is this puzzle here, and if you just keep trial and error, then eventually something will work. So we started considering things like a notebook where you could keep notes on what you were doing and other pieces like that that you'll see in our demo. So our final creation is really only a small subset of what we see as a really complex game. We're calling this World 1. There are 15 levels. And we think that there could easily be World 2 and World 3, which actually do go into adding additional Goombas and splicing them together. In this one, there was so much to focus on the different traits of the Goombas, and there was so much to learn about the scientific method just by having the original levels, the first few levels, be really simple, and then slowly adding complexity, that we didn't even need a separate lab section. We managed to put everything into this one game. So this morning we took a really quick survey of the team to see what everybody learned and what we're proud of and what we think we do differently next time, and I want to share a few of our highlights with you. These are all from different people. I'm proud of our paper prototypes. I'm proud we created a design that is anthropomorphized, charismatic, and cute, yet still cerebrally challenging. I'm proud I made a solid tech contribution despite being mostly unfamiliar with the tech coming in. I have a better understanding of the design process for puzzle games, how to create a puzzle that is appropriately challenging. I learned how to better work in a large group of game jammers where work has to be distributed and yet not conflict. And I learned JavaScript. So we really learned a ton this week, and we want to show you what we did. Play.
All right. Yeah. This is the only level I've actually played of our game. Oh, right. So I need to get this Goomba to get to this exit right here. And if we run, I can watch what he's doing.
Try yelling. Yeah.
Try yelling. Okay. Yeah. So we can see that he always turns right when he hits something. So I'm going to go and put a pit in over here and get him to turn into the exit. Awesome. Okay, so So I don't really know much about this Goomba actually, because I wasn't doing much of the AI, so I don't know how he's going to react to these things. So I'm just going to try some things. Okay, so he's smart enough to avoid fire. Cool. So I'll take that out. How about water? Water. Okay, cool. He likes water. So if I put like a line over here, he'll turn. And if I put some water over here, but he's always going to turn.
He's gonna try.
While he's figuring that out, I want to talk to you guys about the educational content of this
Go ahead.
game. I want you all to think back to middle school. I know, painful, but think back to your science classes in middle school and how many of them you did experiments in that had a correct answer. I'm certain all of you did an experiment where your experiment had a right answer and a wrong answer, and that's not exactly what we want to teach middle school students about experimentation. It's a great way to learn science facts, but it's not a great way to learn science inquiry. And so this game was designed to do science inquiry skills and critical thinking skills as you deduce the different characteristics of the Goombas. So the puzzles are open-ended, following a more constructivist approach. Oh.
Just keep going.
Okay. Be cool. And we wanted to have our students follow the scientific method. So they observe the Goomba's behavior. They make a hypothesis, like you heard Greg saying, oh, I see the yellow one turning right, so what happens if I put a block in front of him? And then we do our experiment and we see the results, and of course they get to their exit. This is aligned with the next generation cross-cutting concepts and science practices, which if there are any educators in here, you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, just know it's cool and it follows standards. We are having them observe patterns and observe cause and effect, which is aligned with the cross-cutting concepts. And we're having them ask questions and construct solutions, which are science practices that are important for all middle schoolers. And last, we have an on-screen level editor that allows them to create their own levels, adding another layer of complexity to the game. And we're using symbolic notation to do this, so that way they're getting this symbolic concept, and also they can share levels with their friends using text or using Twitter. Can I show how that works? We have to scroll down.
Screen cut out.
Yeah, let's
Okay. So we should something on the clipboard you can paste into this box and then click update.
Just gonna spam it.
So this goes along with, you can see the dashes representing the squares up above. And so if I remove this is already.
Yeah.
It loads up and ready to play.
There's no way out.
Not a very good level.
Oh, we don't have an exit here.
But we wanted to encourage students to play around with the game itself and not just solve our puzzles, because it's a higher level of engagement.
Did you pull up the teacher now?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to go out. Yeah, sorry, let me just try to get it.
Oh, there's a link at the bottom.
Okay. So we can also just show them. There we go. So I also put together a teacher guide so that any teachers who want to use this in their classroom can figure out exactly where in the curriculum it can go. And also it gives some discussion questions and some open-ended questions for them to use with their class to get at the concepts that are underlying this game.
We also see a lot of value to start with the Goomba Labs game during studying traits and patterns, then perhaps teaching about genes and hereditary items, and then coming back to the game after that. And each of the worlds that we have can be taught at a different time over the course of the year. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Incredible. Okay, second to present is Field of View. And after Field of View will be Oregon Trail, so if you want to get ready and be ready to jump on it when they leave.
Oh, that's yours.
Thanks, sorry.
Sound on, but leave it on that screen until we finish.
Okay, well, obviously we are 2/3 female. So we're Field of View, we're the team that made Field of View rather, and basically we just wanted to go through the process and show you our game. So I'm Aisha, I did both design and some of the writing.
I'm Kai, I coded the backbone of the game engine.
I'm Toral, I did all the art.
I'm Danielle, I proposed the game, and I did the graphical and sound effects. I'm Frank, I was the game designer.
I'm Daniel, I did the audio.
Alright, great. So we just want to start while they're kind of getting set up with, basically when we came into this, based off Danielle's pitch and also part of Toral's idea, we had a bunch of goals that we wanted from this game. So I'm just going to list the 5 goals that we had coming in. So first there was the idea of when you're really scared, you're running blind. And we wanted to implement that in a game mechanic. The second goal that we had was using the heartbeat as a measure of your calm and also of how far you can see because of the panic and the vision thing. We also wanted to implement inside the game behaviors that you can actually use in the real world in situations that you might encounter in the game. We wanted to have a privilege mechanic that did not make it into the final version of the game for reasons that we might discuss later. And lastly, we wanted this game to create real conceptual change in the way that people approach the situation, which is street harassment basically, or any kind of that, where people come up to you and make comments or anything like that. So Toral's going to go through some of the process and what we learned through that. Okay, so what went right? We had a really clear goal and message in mind from the beginning. It was like crystalline, straight as an arrow clear. We were able to scope and prioritize what we had to do really, really well. So we were never overwhelmed with what we had to do. We communicated immediately and effectively within our group, and that ranged from ideas to problems we had, to problems we were having personally, to puns. We worked really quickly together, and most importantly, we worked together. The work we all felt was really balanced within our team, and we just felt that we really had a fantastic team. I mean, it was awesome. So that's that's the bare bones of what was fantastic about this experience. What we could do better next time is, well, first of all, if we had an extra day, we could implement some of the mechanics that we wanted from the original idea of the game, which would include resources and a privilege mechanic. One thing that we also could have done was to wait for some art assets and sound assets before going into the design of the level of the game, because that created a few slight roadblocks in the way that the art and audio were implemented. And we were working with an unfamiliar engine, which was Crafty, but we figured it out. Programmers figured it out. I still have no idea what the fuck Crafty is. And one thing that we definitely could have done better was to reach out for help with any issues we were having even earlier than we were doing. So that's what we learned.
All right, I guess now Frank is going to demo Field of View for everyone. Field of View is basically...
And if you haven't read the text on the screen, feel free to do that now.
Yes. HTML5 game runs in Firefox.
So it's 11 p.m. and you're trying to get home.
Huh. He's walking down the street, trying to find his way home. Which way does he go? Oh! No! Looks like that person was a harasser. But he handled that harassment with a palm. And keep walking, keep walking. Uh-oh! What are you doing? Run! And as you can see, he's getting so stressed out that he can't see anything. And he blacks out.
Oh,
Not on the computer.
Oh.
Can't hear.
Oh,
I need to be louder. Yes? Yes. So let's try that again. Looks like that's a normal person.
No, it's a person that's not going to harass you. And the problem is that you don't always know who the people are that are going to be saying something horrible. Sometimes you walk by someone and nothing happens. But sometimes you're walking through a dark alley and it makes you nervous. Sometimes you walk up to someone that looks like
Normal person.
looks like just a regular person, and they say something and it makes you panic. And so you run away. You find somewhere that's going to not feel threatening, like a lit parking lot.
1 minute, guys.
This is a real problem. It's a this is a real problem. In the real world, when someone says something to you, it is more than just words. When you get into that situation, you might think beforehand, oh, well, I know what I would do in that situation. I would just walk away and not let it affect me. I would just stay right there and I would tell them what's what. No. When that actually happens to you, your heart starts beating faster. You get the adrenaline rush. You get tunnel vision. You stop noticing anything except what people are saying to you. You stop noticing anything except the fear that you're feeling and the panic, and the world does close in around you. There are things that you can do. There are organizations that will teach you to be more self-reliant. There are organizations that will teach you how to break that cycle, to break out of that tunnel vision and get to where you need to go and not feel afraid anymore. But the real solution to the problem is for the people that are doing this to stop, and that's what we want our game to do.
Thank you, Field of View. Next is Oregon Trail, and after that is Monster Care.
So I don't know about you guys, but I'm really tired. So if nothing of what I say makes sense, it's because I need a drink. So we're Oregon Trail, and we're quite aware that there's another game called Oregon Trail, and we just don't care because the name's that awesome. So let me just start out by asking, how many people in the room are registered organ donors? Oh, that's a pretty good number. How many of you are passionate about, the whole concept of organ donorship? That's 1, 2. Okay, I'm not really passionate about this. I think nobody's really passionate about organ donorship until it somehow turns out that you need a kidney or a heart or something like that. So we decided to take this issue, which I think it was pretty alien to us, but it just seemed interesting. And thinking like, okay, so how can we frame this in a way that we can convey the complexities of how organ donating actually works in the real world, which is to say it's a really fucked up system where there's a lot of people trying to game the system in a way that will get them a kidney faster. That gaming of the system can come in the form of bribing, in the form of faking medical histories, or in the form of actually going into the black market and trying to buy someone's kidney off the system. And what we found in researching the concept for this game is that the whole idea of organ donating is built on a system called a trust, which is very fragile. Meaning that when that trust is somehow vulnerated for any reason, there's an immediate backlash in terms of who gets access to organs and basically who gets to survive. So one of the things we wanted to convey, for example, is the fact that there are very meaningful decisions and very significant trade-offs in the way that people who are in a position of needing an organ are going to have to make. For example, medical care. You're probably not going to be able to afford the best doctors who will give you the best care, who will give you the best diagnosis. You might have to satisfy for Dr. Nick Riviera or Dr. Zoidberg, who's not human. And what we tried to do is, okay, so what is it that you can actually do? If you need an organ, what can you do? And the truth is, short than actually going out and stealing someone's heart, which is something that we're discouraging people from doing, let me just emphasize that, do not steal parts. You can do things like, so update your condition, go to a doctor, and maybe if your medical status has worsened, then you will bump up the priority list. So actually getting routine checkups will actually improve your conditions of getting treatment. Or you can do less legitimate things like, let's say I make a donation to the hospital trust fund, and then somehow my case gets reviewed, bumped up the priority list, and so on. So we're not trying to paint this as just a system where, you know, there's good and bad people. These are, as you can see, if you scroll a little bit to the right, there's a life expectancy bar. So all players playing the game only have 30 days to get an organ or they die. So we are trying to encourage people to get into a very anxious state of mind and try to make crazy decisions like, well, maybe it does make sense to try homeopathy or go to, you know, the black market and see if I can score a kidney. So let me just give you a tip about the game. If you try homeopathy, you only lose money and then nothing happens. Yeah, we just had to throw that in there. So as you can see, it's kind of hard to describe the game. It's kind of like a visual text adventure. It's meant to be multiplayer and turn-based. So we kind of wanted to have everyone in the room just jump in and start competing for available organs and just start duking it out for hearts or kidneys. But it turns out that our multiplayer engine is not exactly working right now. It's slightly less than functional. So in hindsight, one of the things that we definitely learned was that we should have focused in the first player experience first, make sure that worked before jumping all out into trying to build a multiplayer game. I think we are very happy about our rule system. Everything you do in the game involves trade-offs. So every action will cost you some amount of days, and you only have 30, so you have to be very careful about how you allocate those days, and will cost you some amount of money. So in order to actually get an organ, there's only two things you can do. You can bump yourself up the priority list in terms of waiting for a transplant, or you can try to influence public opinion in a way that will encourage more people to become donors. That progress bar on the right that says donor pool, that goes up with some of the actions that you take, and as that goes up, the likelihood that you will get an organ also increases.
1 minute.
1 minute. So that's pretty much it. In terms of postmortem, it was really fun. This was my first game jam, so I didn't really know what to expect. Don here was awesome. He basically did everything, and I just sat around and told like bad jokes and stuff. That was basically what I did. If we had had more time, we would have just jumped into the frozen Charles River because we're that tired. It would have been really helpful to have one extra person working on this, so we could have better allocated tasks. So we know that now, and we know the next thing we would do is fully implement the rules, which I think are very good. They imply trade-offs, but they are not all cleanly implemented, and definitely work on the multiplayer system so that we can actually portray the experience that people have when they need a transplant, they need an organ, but other people need that as well, and it starts getting like really hazy in terms of moral aspects and the complexities and politics of it. So that's Organ Trail.
All right, next is Monster Care and then Secret Surgeon. Welcome to Monster Care. So we are Team Monster Care. The goal of our game was to try to create a system. It's actually really good we went after Organ Trail because our game is sort of about the other side of the equation. Because you play a healthcare corporation / hospital for different monsters. Sorry. Cool.
Not sure why that happened.
Well, I'll just keep talking. Beat jump. So our goal was to really design a game around you're a healthcare provider, and the one experience that we were really trying to get to the player was that when you're sitting on that side, you can't really help everyone. It's just not feasible in the way that the systems work right now. And I think we were able to model that pretty well. So we have a lot of, we did manage to get a lot of mechanics in, so it's very good. Yeah. We were trying to make a game for learning, and we wanted it to be, we were trying to avoid having a really hard message like, oh, healthcare providers are not that evil, or you're an evil person, right? It's really supposed to be a system that you just engage with, and you can think, why did I do that? What happened? What can I learn from this? And one really big success, I think, is that the game treats many different play styles in many different ways. So if you try to like save as many people as possible, which is what everyone wants to do, you will lose much faster than everyone else. If you play as like a miser and you just like only cure the people who are going to be really cheap, you can play for a long time, but everyone hates you. So everything worked out pretty well. Let's all talk about some of the.
Was it working?
Well, it flashed on and off.
Yeah, I see.
As far as the actual process of making the game, I think our team got extremely lucky. Our skill sets all really...
And then really unlucky right about now.
Right about
I just tested it. Well,
we didn't really run into too many problems, which was kind of amazing. I'm not entirely sure how we did it, but I mean, we didn't get to every mechanic we wanted to get to because it is a game jam, but I think part of what we did that was successful is we had a ton of communication. We took many, many meetings. The other people in our rooms can definitely attest that we basically never stopped talking. Part of that was because we were all using Dropbox, so we had to be like, hey, don't touch that file right now because I'm in it. But I think all that stuff helped everyone keep talking, which kept the conversation rolling. And where are we going next? What are we going to do next? So we always had a target. And we always had meetings where we'd always condense down what we were going to do next. Let's see, what else did we do that was good? We had really heavy paper prototyping. Me and Arjun were the two designers, so we just sat there. The programmers figured out what they were going to work on, and then the designers worked on actually polishing the mechanics and getting them to a really nice point.
I think something that was really helpful is the game designers just used some simple paper props to test the game the first night. And so we had, going into Saturday, already some bugs to work out before we even got into coding, really. So it gave us a lot to do, good direction on Saturday.
Another nice thing for polish to make sure that the system worked, because it is a pretty complex system, was the programmers actually set apart a file with all of the relevant numbers to be tweaked. That was easy for me and Erjan to just go in and just change the numbers until we found the system worked. So the way the game works is you, the patients show up, and then you have to pick one to put them into the operating room before they die. And the sound is another thing I wanted to, because when we started the game, I was like, we don't need sound. Sound is not going to help this game at all. And I don't know if you can hear, but it makes a huge difference. So we also have, you play around and you try to help as many people as possible, and then you collect your premiums from all your members, and then you can invest it in research to try to make your healthcare cheaper. But depending on how many people you save, you may lose members over time, and you will have to pay for operating costs, which rises at the projected rise of healthcare for America. Yeah. 1 minute. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it.
So he started off this round. He spent a lot of money, and so his bag is full. And one big goal that we reached is getting a lot of the numbers off of this main screen. So we started off with just numbers everywhere, and eventually replaced it with a lot of graphics. Jordan did all the artwork.
And we're about to see the end game screen when you run out of money. I think this is a very nice touch. It depends on how many people you kill.
The number of people who die is the number of
to show that how terrible it is.
So one of the things I'm also quite happy with is we wanted to emulate a little bit the difficulties there are within
different strategies in running a hospital or running a healthcare insurance company. So there are a lot of trade-offs you can make. Like for example, if you try to save everybody, you'll lose a lot of money because you're paying for treatment. So your money will go down, but your reputation will stay good, so you'll have more subscribers. But in the end, if you don't have any more money, you can't run your business anymore. Or if you try to be an extreme miser, you can just choose to only save the people who, for whom the treatment doesn't cost a lot of money.
Or not save anyone at all.
Or not save anyone at all, but then your subscriptions go down. And because you don't have any more members in your healthcare plan.
They all died.
Because they all died. You also won't have any more income in the end. So that's I think, pretty much it.
That's it. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, up next is Secret Surgeon. After that is Managed Sugar Consequence. And I think it would be wise on what we just saw to probably have a backup plan, maybe come down with both just in case so you can move right along and swap computers out if you have to, if you can.
I'm Jenna, this is Tana, and this is Renzo. We are Team Secret Surgeon. Our game is not educational at all. So I'm just going to make that disclaimer up front. And our game is an iOS augmented reality game, so if you give me just a minute to set this up, the demo might be slightly awkward, but we'll make it work. So, talk a little bit about that.
So our idea is to use the augmented reality technology as if you were a secret surgeon looking around and see people with heart diseases. And you just help them out on the way using the power of your mind, helping them without them knowing that you're helping them actually. So naturally this falls into a mobile game category. We cannot really have people go laptops and like, okay, there you are, that wouldn't work very well. So there's that little game on iOS. So
the audio doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, that's just loud.
Take the case off, so. The case. The case off.
So our game is really, really simple. We try to use the cool factor to kind of like balance it with the fun factor. We don't really think of that much. It turns out to be a really fun game. So there you see little guys. You're supposed to use your camera to project on that little image to look at, see out those guys.
And you need to see which ones have healthy hearts and which ones have sick hearts. So we see there are a few with sort of grayed out black hearts. There's one guy with thorns on his heart. So if you tap on the healthy hearts, then the game is kind of like, wah, which you can't hear, sorry. But if you tap on an unhealthy heart, then you get a little mini game where you need to tap on all the things that don't belong in a heart. So basically, everything except for hearts. Hearts are good. Everything else is bad. And so you need to either save 5 people or break 5 hearts.
So it turns out to be a little bit of a challenge in that I'm the only programmer and I'm not very familiar with game engines. This is my first try on Unity, so it turns out quite well. I learned a lot. Also, I learned to use a couple of plugins, having augmented reality plugins out there helps me out a lot. It's really easy to use, I would say. However, being a programmer alone comes with one blessing in that I don't really have to deal with all the problems with version control. Dropbox turns out to work extremely fine with us.
So that is the game. It's very, very simple. We started with an extremely simple design concept, so we didn't really have to cut scope at all over the course of the weekend, which was great. I think the biggest thing that I would change if we did this again was going around and asking people about the technology up front. We initially tried a different augmented reality solution and gave up, I think, yesterday morning. And then we were mentioning it to some other people, and they were like, oh, have you tried Euphoria? It's extremely easy. And we had great luck with that. So I think I would have asked for help a little bit earlier. Yes, that is our game. Thank you.
Okay, next is managed sugar consequence, and after that is EKG Fighter.
I'm wondering if there isn't like a iPhone/iPad to VGA people. I was told that maybe Rick had one.
Yeah. VGA?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to steal this power cord.
Yeah. So we're looking at the concept of care that's provided through digital mediums. So taking a look at software that exists on the iPad and on the iPhone right now, we see there are some medical apps for people who suffer from diseases like diabetes and disorders and conditions like depression. And we see that in these disorders, people get software in order to treat them and to aid them in their managing of their conditions. Yet these softwares that they use are very, very bland and very clinical. People go into these and sort of expect a clinical experience. They get a medical experience that they want to shun, and these things are very stigmatized. Furthermore, we see that people who are most involved in helping people to be people who are most involved in helping to assist people in getting better, for example, with diabetes, are people who are their supporters, their friends, their family. And so what we took a look at is a mechanism by which people would be able to share with their friends and family how they could be best supported. And not just told where people can read down a pamphlet, but shown through games. And so that's what we tried to do.
So the idea was you had an app that was really a multi-purpose app. There was one element of the app that was for the person affected by a disease. In our case, we chose diabetes, so the diabetic would interface with the app in one way, and then there would be elements of the app for a growing peer network, and that the gamification elements would build kind of connection and back and forth between them. It's an excellent, awesome concept, deserves more and more exploration. As you can imagine, as a game jam concept, it was over the moon and far away. So after some key design decisions on Friday night, we pared it down to 3 mini games, 2 of which we were able to get done just because of manpower and availability. And the idea is we concentrate on the supporter apps, the idea of educating the peer support network about what the diabetic is going through, kind of show the experience and educate them in a friendly way, and also in a way that they can kind of pass the information back and forth between them. And just as a quick thing, I'm Paul Marzagali. I did the research and help with some of the design elements. Marcella came on as a designer, which she is, but then she also ended up tackling our hardest Unity project without having a huge amount of familiarity with it, and did a wonderful job.
Great. I'm Alex. Let's show it again. So basically, we were very, very interested in seeing what would happen if we added a little bit of, even just a little bit of humanity to these apps. So I'm not a designer, nor am I an artist. So I just made some very simple things. So Yogi's going to say, I'm here to teach family and friends about diabetes. And now people get to pick which of these foods they thought would allow them to go through the day without having diabetic sugar. So we could choose maybe nice steak breakfast. What would happen if we ate pizza for lunch, maybe popcorn. I really like burgers, and if we went for the wine also, well, maybe that wouldn't work out so well. So if people were very optimized and they didn't have snack and they ate swordfish for dinner, great, maybe they could have wine also. Awesome. And so the notion is sort of, now what can you see when you start to add some constraints? So tonight you're going to pizza with a friend for lunch, and then later in the night you'll have a movie, and so it'll be difficult.
1 minute.
Okay, so basically you have to choose these things, and oh, we got some more sound here. So now Marcella is going to show the other mini game.
Okay.
Here you go. Here, I'll do this. You can talk.
Okay, you might want to refresh this. Okay. Plug it in. So my mini game was aimed to illustrate how the pancreas works and how it might not work. And the idea is you have a pancreas and you have cells in the body, and you have sugar from the food you're eating. So then, yeah, that's, I mean, that's, you know, how it looks. Anyway, yeah, we didn't have another artist see if I can...
Wait, we're idealists,
Okay.
so we believe it.
Okay, so hopefully
Oh,
it's loading now. So you have food, and you're digesting it, and it's releasing sugar. And you want to hit the sugar, and that means you give insulin to the cells to take in the sugar. And if they don't, your blood sugar level there goes up. So
destroys your cells.
yeah, so right now it's at like 490, which is because they have been getting the sugar using insulin. And yeah, ideally, like if we worked on this game more, we might have different foods that have different amounts of sugar that are released. And if you're doing a harder level, the insulin might have less of an effect from insulin resistance.
So that's the overall concept.
Yep.
We hope to educate people using this mechanism and provide a different kind of game to help supporters understand how to help their loved ones more.
Thank you, Managed Sugar Consequence. And next is EKG Bike, and after them is Harder to Hide.
So we're EKG Bike, and if you remember from the pitch, basically the idea was you got an EKG machine going beep, beep, beep. You got a guy on a motorbike just jumping off of those ramps and doing radical moves. And that was basically the goal of our game. We set out to do radical moves, and we did radical moves. Game is basically about doing flips, and yeah, it's better. So in terms of the post-mortem, what went wrong, what went right, what went wrong, I guess is what we should start with, is we had some version control issues all weekend that we never quite resolved. In the end, it was basically just we smacked our computers with our fists until something appeared to work, and who knows what's going on in the end, but wasn't the best experience with version control I've ever had. It's probably one of the worst ones, but what went? What's up?
Which one do you guys want to click on?
All right. So,
As you see, it's actually
we wanted to keep the concept very lighthearted. We wanted to make the game very simple. We also wanted to be really, really fun. And so really, one of the biggest concepts of the game was making sure that you could do flips. So we maximized on the flips. We made score based on flips. You could pop wheelies to get score. You can keep track of the number of flips you did in one jump. And so the whole idea was about making a really, really fun experience based off just this bike. You want to have this really, really fun experience off of just having your bike running across this EKG that's kind of continuously going and going and going. One of the things that went right, of course, is kind of the fun factor. It looks really fun, you know, it's really fun to jump in. I mean, do any of you want to come down here and actually have a quick play test yourself?
No.
Oh my God. So yeah, he got 163.8 points, and he actually completed one flip. So you got to keep trying again. It's one of those endless games that you kind of just get you hooked, and you kind of just keep wanting doing it, keep trying to beat your score, and keep getting better jumps. One of the things, of course, that went really well actually was that we had I think 1, 2, 3, 4 programmers on the team, so it made it really easy for all of us to jump in and kind of get things done. Of course, that led to, like you said before, the version control issues where we were constantly hitting different versions, and oh my God, you checked something in, you just erased all my code, and oh my God, what did you just do there? And it was really crazy, but it still turned out really, really nice. Brutal. So you want to talk about the
I guess I know the art for it, so I was just drawing all the time. I have never, didn't know what size to make anything or anything like that, so I would just make these gigantic files, like smaller. So I put them into Illustrator and made them vectors, and then turned them back into PNGs, and I got this weird white fuzz around everything. So I have no idea how to get rid of that. That was my main problem. But I had fun. I got to draw a crazy little bike guy all weekend. So.
Josh was awesome. Like he just, whatever we told him to make, he would just make it. It's like, all right, here you go. What's next?
Now for Sound Divine, actually, Alec actually did a really good job. He made all the voices, so all the tubular and the awesome and the harsh and the wipeouts. That was all him. It actually put a really, really nice touch on the game. So
it was fun. Best part of the weekend, I just sat in a room in the dark by myself, going tubular.
And so the developing this was actually kind of really, really fun. I mean, myself, I hadn't really worked that much with Unity, so I got to actually see, you know, if I could actually make a full game out of Unity, kind of just by jumping in, and it turned out really, really well. We made one of the things that also went really well.
You just jumped in, you did flips too.
Yeah, and one of the things that made this really, really nice is that we kept the concept really, really simple. When I first came in, I had a really crazy idea, but it was kind of nice joining this team and kind of having this very simple idea, because we knew what we wanted, we knew what we wanted it to look like, everyone was kind of on the same page, and as we're all discussing things, we kind of threw ideas out around, and I mean, there's more that we could do with this concept, there's more that we could synchronize, there's, you know, we could actually, you know, have more of like a heartbeat sound and have you see, write an actual EKG rather than kind of just randomly generating one, because this one right now is kind of just randomly generated as you go through.
Well, it looks like my heartbeat.
Yeah. And it was kind of really enjoyable kind of putting this together and keeping this really simple concept and making the whole thing kind of come out. So any questions? No, really? Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, that was EKG Bike. Next is Heart Like a Hive, and after that is What the Frack.
So we're the Heart of the Hive team. Set out to make a game about bees, and I think we did that. So that was good. When we were doing the brainstorming session, Michael and I stumbled upon this idea pretty quickly, and we kind of just sort of latched onto it. And we didn't honestly know a whole lot about bees.
Yeah, so the main theme was pretty much to just bring awareness to all the problems going on with bee colonies now, specifically kind of related to the colony collapse disorder issues, which have wiped out a large amount of bee colony in the last, since 2006, 2007. So it's like a major problem. And one of the issues is that a lot of farmers rely on bee colonies to do pollination, so it affects a lot of things
So, we set out, I had to do a lot of research yesterday and today about bees, and I found out quite a lot about them. But in the meantime, we made this awesome little strategy game, which maybe we'll show.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, hopefully. Hopefully we'll show. While Frederick's working on that, I'll go through some. So we started this kind of strategy game. There's a couple different things you have to balance. We did have our educational aspect with the info. We can show that again real quick. There we go. Hooray. It's a big block of text. It's in the game, so everybody play it and you can read all about the bees. And so here's the instructions on our game. So you want to you control the beehive, and you want to send your bees out to pollinate the plants as they start flowering. You have a limited amount of time when they're flowering. Otherwise, they'll wither and die without producing any food. So you want to produce food so the farmer gets money and stays happy and doesn't go bankrupt. But also at the same time, you're reliant on making honey. So sometimes you have to, you have to sometimes pollinate crops that aren't necessarily good farming crops just to get yourself fed. So there's some management here. You have to do
schedule where they're moving.
Yeah, you're supposed to actually click on the ones that have flowers when they come up, and the bees will go there and pollinate them, and they will eventually turn into fruits or whatever. You know, there's a couple different crop types, and the farmer will eventually collect those, and then he will actually gain money from that, and he'll become happy or sad depending on how well he's doing. And of course, your bees return with the pollen, and they make honey for their food. So they also have to have that to survive.
So you see, yeah, we got a sick bee up there, and yep. So unfortunately, this is some of the things we researched about CCD, which is that through a number of various reasons, bees are getting sick. They're getting contaminated. They're disrupting the hive. So for one reason or another, they're causing chaos in the hive, and that's leading to the collapse. And so we simulated this by having the moldy plants that the farmer sprays with pesticides. So either you get the mold or you get the pesticide, and if that gets back to the hive, it really disrupts the hive, and you end up losing quite a number of bees.
Intoxicated bees. Like when you bring them back, they'll kill 10 bees.
Yeah, so
unless they're out of honey, you would actually not regenerate bees, but actually lose the bees.
So, I know, it gets rather sad. I know, well, so there we go, it's good motivation to keep playing and try and do as good as you can. So going to more of a post-mortem, some things we did well was we really focused, and we actually, we finished, you know, I think, or semi-finished, close enough.
Yeah, we had kind of a theme and we stuck to it like all the way through. We didn't like shift around a lot.
Yeah, we really didn't revise our original design too much once we started. I think we ended up, Dina made this awesome art, and it's really cute and fun, and you just feel awesome about these bees, and they look great, and Miles did a great job with the audio, creating this awesome look and feel to the game that I think really works well and really gets the player to connect to the bees. Some things we didn't do well, we have 2 programmers on our team, Michael and Frederick.
Both Unity programmers. Like different scripting languages.
Yeah, so we had issues communicating between C# and JavaScript.
Needed the compilation process.
Exactly. So that was an adventure. We had many headaches trying to compile our stuff.
Version control issues.
Exactly. Unlike other groups, our version control consisted of some USB drives. And another thing is, we wanted to really highlight the whole disappearance of hives through the CCD disorder, and we really didn't hit as many of our educational goals as we wanted. Having said that, I think you do get the idea, and that in that case, I think is a success.
Yeah, I think it's a more abstract representation than what we wanted to do, which was to be a little more specific to the science, but we didn't really have enough time to research it, and there's also a lot of uncertainty as to all the issues involved, so yeah, that's another problem with trying to represent.
Anyway, that's our game. Thank you guys.
Okay, that was Heart of the Hive. Up next is What the Crack, and then after that, Beast Wars.
EKG jump, or EKG bike.
Okay, our game is WTF, or What the Frack, and you may recall from the original pitch that it's about the prospect of a renaissance of American energy due to fracking. So Our team here, starting with a post-mortem, our team had, as far as I could tell, no problems, or maybe I was a problem, but as far as Mike was said, we had no problems. And some teams thought out loud and talked constantly while they were working, I noticed. Our team, like once an hour, we get together like ants and rubber antennas together and communicate, and then we go back and silently work without any conflict at all during this entire period. When we, the rest of the team, Pao Chen is our programmer. It's web-based. He was able to just start from zero and put together this entire extravaganza in almost right from the very start. And from the very start, we had a common vision of this thing. The first thing we did on Saturday morning was to take out an index card and draw what we were thinking of in terms of how we would treat this content. And our index cards all had the same vision, but different aspects of it. We all came in from different directions, but we were all on the same page right at the very start, and that didn't change at all. Kristen is an art teacher, high school art teacher. She provided all the art that you see here. And I became an expert on fracking. I didn't know much about it Thursday, but now I know more. So let's take a short look at it and play a little bit of this.
What if there were a way to extract so much oil and natural gas from far underground that it would make America energy independent? What if this technology was so effective that it would bring back manufacturing jobs and revive the economy to a degree we haven't seen in decades? That sounds great, doesn't it? And what if there were serious drawbacks to this technology? What if it opened up the possibility of contaminating our water supplies and putting dangerous chemicals in the air? Would the risk be worth taking? The technology we're talking about is hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. Fracking involves drilling a hole deep under the earth and injecting water and other materials under high pressure to break up layers of rock to release petrochemicals. With fracking, oil fields that were too expensive to exploit suddenly become accessible. Harvard history professor Neil Ferguson says,
You'll never know what he says.
Well, unless you play the game.
Unless you play the game, and I bet you will. So Kristen inspired us, gave us a context for this. As a high school teacher, she's mastered the art of corralling kids into learning stuff. And so maybe explain how this would be working.
So I think we all kind of envisioned this as a game that we played in the classroom. So there are 3 different roles that you can choose from, and kind of 3 different directions that you can go in, or well, multiple directions from there. But so each team would kind of simulate the choices that these 3 different roles might make as they kind of look at the facts. And the game throughout kind of prompts you to look at other resources outside the game, on the web and things like that. So I see it as like groups of students, maybe 3 at each computer, each playing a different role from this game and engaging in discussion, but also consulting outside resources before they make choices throughout the game.
So the variables at the top there represent environmental quality, an overall quality of life thing, which is the sum of all of these things, economic issues, and is it health? I've already forgotten. Yeah, so the quality of your gameplay, the extent to which you master this stuff and make good decisions is reflected in those numbers at the top. As you hover over each of the choices there, you can see what the environmental person and the Enron, Exxon type person has to say about each of those choices. And after hovering, if you click on one to make a choice, you then go on and see the consequences. And, some choices are better than others, and they change the variables as a result. And so you work your way through. At this point, we have 7 cycles of decisions and consequences. And when you get to the very end, the last screen that isn't quite finished will lead you to a call to action. Essentially, if by doing this thing you've decided to identify with the pro-business, the energy development side of things, there'll be a place for you to go and sign up, join, and support that. And if you become a more of an environmentalist by having played this game, there'll be a place to sign up and engage with that. 30 seconds.
No, and I hope to make a lesson plan to go with it.
That's What the Frack.
you very much. Next is Beast Wars, and then Robot Finds Kitten 2.
Sorry, folks.
More words.
We're gonna hurt you.
We can't run it a little higher? Fast.
That hurts.
That hurts.
This hurts.
Does this work?
Yep.
Oh my. Okay. Okay, so Beast Wars. Hi. So one of the things first I'd like to thank all the Game Jam organizers because I thought this was pretty awesome. I hope you all did too. We had a great time. So the best part of this, I think, was actually working with the team. Working with everyone was great, and we really pulled together. It was a big learning experience for all of us because I think basically this was everyone's first game they worked on, pretty much. At least, except for, but you came in a little later. So, particularly too, so like there was no Unity experience on the initial programming team, which was me, Ira, and Carly. Yeah, but fortunately, Andrew came in and joined us and taught us a lot and helped us out hugely. So, lots of thanks. Good stuff. Also, we learned don't combine Git and Unity unless you want to live a miserable, horrible life. So, or you need to cry. Also, our artists fortunately knew each other, but they were also really pulled together and did a great job. The art is awesome. And hey, why aren't you down here? Can I be there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Jump on.
So Kevin joined us today and pulled together some awesome sound for us. So, well, we were pretty happy. So, but yeah, hey, what do I know? It's my first game. So basically, our first challenge was what to do, what to cut this down to, because it was, doing a real-time strategy game, StarCraft style, in like 24 hours is not believable. So, but what we did is we went with an old-school player versus computer sort of tower defense style that could be extended into an RTS. So, and what that became was Beast Wars. 8 bits of vengeance! So, I don't know if other people have comments about the experience before we jump in, play the game. No one wants to say anything. Okay, so we'll just get right into this. Anyone know how to get Chrome into full screen then?
Right click on the Unity and there's a full screen there.
Here?
On the player.
Alright, so part of the concept behind this was to subtly encourage people to learn about the real animals and real ecosystems, because features of the animals are part of how they fight and how you leverage which animal in which situation. So, and to cut the scope down, we chose Queensland, Australia, and your first 3 animals we developed and put in there are kangaroos, rabbits, and venomous cane toads.
And the last two there are actually invasive species in Australia. So,
And just so you know, you do have to use a mouse. It doesn't say it on there, but you do.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I can use it with a mouse pad though.
We don't have much time to
Yeah.
So I would like to compliment the team, by the way, on cutting scope very cleverly pretty early on. We went from full-scale RTS to, you know, as the heart beats, you get more resources. No gathering. And the AI is just sort of coming at you in a pre-planned way. It's just simplified very, very nicely, which was an awesome sort of scope back and pulled back. And that happened on Friday. Like even before any real work started, it was just crossing out features left and right and saying, okay, what's the absolute minimum we need to do? Yeah, it did a fantastic job of that.
Thank you. And the game is actually, well, you can't see it right now, but it's online at the URL when we switch off full screen. And just remember, if you try and play it, they're not bugs, they're surprising features.
Bye. Thank you. Next is Robot Finds Kitten 2. After that is Zombie Beats.
Hello everyone. You having a great jam?
Yeah.
So the genesis of this game, Carolyn's idea, was based on Leonard Richardson's 1997 game, Robot Find Kitten 1, which was an ASCII-based game of Zen exploration with a lot of hilarious flavor text and so forth.
Fast disclaimer, I don't know what I'm doing. Is there someone here who can help me set up this laptop? Sorry.
So we thought we'd add to the ASCII-based game and add a narrative to it with a little bit of backstory and add some accessibility with adding sound and trying to find the kitten through use of its purring heartbeat. Carolyn and Nadine were doing the programming.
Naomi.
I'm sorry, Naomi, sorry. Carolyn and Naomi were doing the programming and at first had some technical issues and wondering about, and it's kind of a repeating theory here.
We were trying in the beginning to figure out how we were going to do version control, and we also found out that our technical backgrounds did not overlap very much. So what this ended up turning into was Carolyn made a version of the game in GameMaker in 2D, and I did a version in Unity in 3D. So we shared most of the assets, but they're similar but kind of different versions of the game.
Yeah, and I had no 3D experience, so we used all the 2D assets in the 3D as basically as textures. It seemed to work out pretty good. Yay. Because we were trying to keep the elements as kind of obscure as possible. If you're trying to hunt down for this kitten in this post-apocalyptic world, that you want to save the kitten as quickly as possible. One benefit to using Unity was the sound location. As you got closer to the item, the sound got louder, and that was very useful in trying to help find the kitten.
You're on.
Pretty good.
Okay, this is the 3D version.
At one point, poor Carolyn's GameMaker file crashed horribly at about 8 o'clock last night.
The entire engine just started going out on me. Every time I tried to build, every time I tried to compile, it was not special.
Okay, we don't have sound.
Oh, no sound? Sound is kind of critical.
You have sound, there's just no sound, right? It's louder. You need to get turn up.
Turn it to 11.
This is literally at 70.
Yeah, but
Squirrel. The one home. Find the kitten. You can hear its heartbeat. It must be close.
keys to move, and WAS and D keys to rotate.
So,
I have tried playing the 3D version with my eyes closed.
yeah, we tried to make the
It's
game as accessible as possible
Tricky. It's probably possible to win it, but I haven't yet.
by utilizing a limited color palette, trying to consider color blindness, and it is playable with your eyes closed if you can listen really carefully to the sound.
Yeah, because there's supposed to be like a purry heartbeat sound.
As you move around and get closer to the kitten, you can find it. And the only way to find out if the element is a kitten or not is to bump into it, and then you'll find out if it is or not.
Nylon pop a lawn chair, not the kitten.
So you tried to add some humor and try to find, make the commentary about lazy people sort of a la Wall-E, that these things are out of the
cotton fabric, soft, comfortable, perhaps too comfortable, a chair, not the kitten.
The diversifiers we use in the 2D version is true 16 color. Unity adds in shadows and so forth, so it's not quite there with that. It's proof for all audience. The robot never dies. He may get reset if he hits a dangerous object.
Which we don't have in 3D, it's only in 2D.
It's only in the 2D version.
Yay! Wahoo! Robot found a kitten. The world is a better place with kittens.
And now I'll load up the 2D version.
So I lost 13 hours of programming time yesterday and started from scratch when I went home last night. So that was...
Robot finds kitten too. Use the arrow keys to...
Okay, you all knew that part. So, in this space it is in fact possible to close your eyes because it will give you a cue whenever you encounter an object and whenever you move. Originally we did have 4 distinct cues so that it would respond whether you were going left, right, up, down. We found in playtesting, unfortunately, that that was confusing for people, and so it wound up being limited down to just a single move sound.
About 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Rick?
He's going.
Is that including the extra time?
Add a minute.
That sound you heard a second ago is a bad thing that you don't want to encounter. For the sake of demonstration, we're going to encounter it. You can figure out that there's a proximity. There's something in there making this sound, and if you get close enough to it, it makes this horrible noise.
Oh no! There are some places that even the best of robots should not go. You'll have to start again. Your mission is the same, but everything else has changed.
And if your eyes are closed, you're bouncing off the walls.
Nylon polymer wrapped aluminum contraption. Another lazy man.
Okay, I can hear the kitten. I lost the kitten. And somewhere in there is the danger object, and...
Hooray! It's a kitten!
You get the idea.
It's so hard to describe a cat, I guess, snoring. So the only thing I could even create was like a heartbeat that's purring. So all I do was go by microphone and just like roll my tongue.
And I think this game really came alive in both the 2D and the 3D versions as soon as we heard that noise.
Yeah, for the robot voice, we actually use the Mac text-to-speech.
Text-to-speech feature.
So it actually sounds like a robot.
Robot finds kitten, too. Thank you.
Next is Zombie Beats, and after that, Toxic King.
I
quiz. All right, guys. So this is Zombie Beats. So this game is another game where you really need to use your ears, listen to what's going on to figure out how to get to your goal. So basically, you're in a desolate area, in a sort of Resident Evil area where there's zombies, but they're survivors, and you're the only human who's actually willing to go out and save these people, because no one wants to get bitten and turn into a zombie. I wouldn't, I don't know if you would, but that's not my personal thing. But this dude is pretty great. So, you're playing this guy, a hero, who is in this area, it's pitch black, and you have a flashlight. And using this flashlight, it's your only point of perspective to use to find yourself. And besides the light, all you really have is using a suit to listen to the heartbeats of people around you. There's a little sound, a little high-pitched sound that triggers when there's a victim nearby. And use that to like get close to them, try to like find them. But as you're going along, so like there's two distinct heartbeats. The ones of the victims are really slow, like duh, 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 duh. But any people that have fast heartbeats, like duh, 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 that's a zombie. And basically try to avoid them while saving all the survivors. There's a time limit. There's usually about 5 survivors in each area. So in each level, you try to find them before time runs out.
Is there a DVI adapter there?
Does somebody have VGA to DVI?
VGA to DVI.
Sweet.
No? Nope. Especially new one.
Is it a web game?
DVI.
Is it a web game? Like DVI?
No, is it on the web?
Is your game on the web? Use the other computer.
Yeah, we can use this.
Flash drive?
I don't know. Yeah. Should we let someone else go? Yeah, swap. Okay.
Change places!
We shall swap.
Okay. Do you want to? I can keep going.
We do a little soft shoe.
Soft shoe. So I basically did level design and all the sound design and audio. John here is a really good artist. He helped make the models for every John Lee. Lee helped to make all the art, all the models here. John here helped on Unity make the programming and help the game function. It was really cool. In pre-production, we planned for a 2D game where it's just an overhead camera, and it was just going to be a 2D game, kind of like Robot Finds Kitten 2. But Lee came in and talked about his work, and we managed to find a way to make it work in 3D, which was really cool. It was a nice conversion that we didn't need to change anything drastic with the mechanics of the game, and we just went with it.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because Unity is really easy to make stuff that looks good, but it's a little misleading because it does have a particular way of working. And so my thought was just, oh, I'll just dive in, and I wish that I would have researched a little bit more. But I really have to thank everyone who helped me go through the problems that I had with Unity. It was really helpful.
Do we have to select a separate outfit or output? Any Mac whizzes here?
Oops. I got it.
Yeah, we went 3D, and I have to admit, I was a bit of a selfish pull on my part. I was like, that's because that's what I do. It turned out pretty well. Granted, I was pretty much constantly, to the last minute, working on my character. We didn't animate it, of course. We didn't rig him. And we had multiple characters, and I realized that there was no way in hell I was going to be able to get multiple characters done, so we just reused the same mesh and just put a different texture on it. So that helped a lot for time-wise. But, yeah.
It's not really, I think a lot of people already know this, but I found that there's a point at which it goes from tech demo to game. And the sooner you can get that happening, the more fun it is. I feel like we created a way to easily create levels. And as soon as we did that, I feel like the creativity started going in terms of the game and finding ways to play with the zombies. Instead of just running away from them, you can like trap them and different things like that. So it's fun.
Yeah, as this is going, I want to give kudos to the playtest idea. There was some of that did happen last year, but this year it was really nice to actually like have a time limit to like have it functional by people, to have them play and give their opinion. That helped immensely with our game to try and get it to the point where people could actually have fun with it and enjoy it. So, you know, that idea was great. So thank you for that.
We don't really have too many problems with the flow. Like I know a lot of larger teams had like issues where, oh, don't use that file, but we each had very separate tasks, so it didn't end up being much of a problem. One of the things I found really useful is that we each had our own version of the same scene in Unity. So like when I was working on something else that looked the same. But we used prefabs to make it work.
So who's going to get beer after this?
Yeah.
Right on.
Might be the adapter. I have another adapter, Rick.
This is DVI. They have a VGA cable. Oh, shit, that's DVI.
Sorry.
You just pass this up.
I have it somewhere. Why does my TV have a VGA cable for their projector?
In my office on the floor is a box of adapters, another DisplayPort one, the finished one.
I think we should have in every port. And broke it. I was wondering, like, I don't think there are any ports on that side. It's like, oh! Wow, where's my sponsor? The video's going? You should play your little jingle. Just keep playing it.
Hey, Will, do you want to go next? Toxic King?
What kind of computer you got? PC, bring it down. I want to test it, please.
All right, we'll come back to Zombie Beats in a second. Next is Toxic King.
Okay, great. Yeah, do you mind if we try using their game on yours too? Thank you so much. We're not sure if it's the projector or if it's the adapter. Or is it? It's the adapter.
Can't leave it hanging.
Oh, you're copying the thing? Yeah. Did you guys, do you mind if they go?
No, not at all.
All right, you guys go.
Waiting too, if you want. Like,
No, let's keep it rolling.
All right, cool.
So you guys go up, Zombie Beats can show their game afterwards.
All right.
Sorry for
So,
being me.
yeah, I'll give you some quick notes on it. So the original idea worked by myself just because I was going to make a text-based like D&D style game where you played as the Heart character from Captain Planet, and you had to do all these like lame jobs for Captain Planet. So like you do his laundry and stuff, and you just never had any fun. But so I didn't want to put anyone through that. So instead, the second idea was this more serious idea. It was about like communication between each other and like listening to whoever you're talking to and trying to match the pulse and the rate of that person, so that way you can kind of enter their mind to be able to experience things. And I worked on it till around 4 yesterday, and I was like, just wasn't looking good. Like, I liked the concept, and some of the mechanics were pretty good, but it just wasn't like
I wasn't passionate about it yet. So what I did, I started drawing out things and just like little things on paper. And you know, some of the characters, little turtle wearing roller skates, things like that. I was like, yeah, you know, that sounds fun. But then suddenly, the roadblock really hit me. What happened was I got the theme song to one of those like Subway commercials just stuck in my head. And it just like it kept on repeating, going over and over again. It was just horrible. So I actually was, you know, I needed some inspiration. So I put on a bunch of sounds of the heartbeat to see what I could, you know, get the sound of. And you know what? Just to make sure, because it sounds real important in this. Is this gonna get the sound in here? Oh wait, here we go. So what happened was, let me make sure I get this right. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So you know, I was getting the sound of a heart and all these different things in there, and I was like, what am I gonna make? So I was looking at these characters. And I'm like, all right, we're just gonna have fun. So around 4 yesterday, I was like, let's do something. So so this is a web-based game called Toxic King. And the story will come up in a sec. Here we go. That was like me talking to the mic. So here we go. Oh no! The king ate all the toxic waste. Get in there and fix them up. All right, time to go. So you're inside the heart and the body of this king, and you're cleaning up all the toxic waste inside his body. And you meet some nice friends along the way, like this cool star that like rollers and the idea is you've got a couple minutes before this song ends. And, there's this little guy swinging by. You can ride on him, and there's no like violence in it. It's all about kind of cleaning up. And so if you go in here, you can get a big blast and like jump really high, and you know. But if you, depending on how many of the things that you collect and how well you clean them up, you'll get a different ending. So and then we can go into all these different places and explore. It's like we'll go down here, check it out, and then. Once the song ends, the game's over. Let's see. All right. This is like one of my favorite places. You jump down here and you go, yeah! And he's kind of like a nice little guy coming out, you know. And and in a little bit you'll see it end. And it's just coming close to the end right now. Let's see. There's some kind of fun stuff happening in his guts and stuff here too. So you can see like the backgrounds are all moving weird and kind of neat stuff going on. And let's see. And that's the Oh, I don't know if anyone has any questions. You can ask them. Yeah. Go to sodadrinkerpro.com. If you go on there, I'll put a little link on it for there, so you can remember that. I don't have it online anywhere yet.
Where'd you get the art assets? Because it looked like a mix of like hand drawn and then 3D animated.
Yeah, so it's all hand drawn. I scanned it in with there's a phone application called Cam Scanner, and it kind of cleans up drawings and stuff. And then from there, I did them in Photoshop, and then the 3D type stuff was the ZBrush. So, but a mix of like 2D and 3D. So, and the assets were made with Ableton, and there's a really nice free program called SFXer where you get a lot of those like those things and stuff. So, you know, that's worth checking out. That's the only one right now. Oh, cool. I don't, yeah.
So Zombie Beats, try playing it on the PC while it still works. We know that one works. They're still here?
Oh, you have the zombie game? Awesome. Thank you. Right. All right, thank you.
he?
Yeah.
He's great. Hmm?
Yeah, don't worry about that. You can just like open it regular. It'll, in Unity always does that.
Open normally, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
After Zombie Beats is Not Alone.
Where is it?
Oh, I have a list.
It's not meant to be, sorry, y'all.
Click on desktop over in the left hand pane up to the top. You see desktop?
Oh yeah.
Oh, desktop right there. There you go. Now find it and then run it. There you go. And don't run into the sandbox.
Only maybe as a Mac executable. Maybe.
All right. Rick, I can try on their computer. I got an adapter for theirs. Well, you guys get last. I'll try one more time. All right, let's move on.
Okay, so the next one is Not Alone. After that is Mechanical Heart.
Okay, I'll just kind of choose everybody.
Not below.
Oh, is it the bad adapter? I've got one too, if that doesn't work.
Yeah, throw the bad one like away.
Right.
Like that way, really far.
Stop! Oh,
Pinch it!
There.
Oh! Thank you.
You totally don't play for the Patriots, do you?
Oh yeah.
You actually taught that. Oh, sorry.
So we're. Oh, okay. Let's just set the display thing. Just take a second. Okay.
I think I can fill this time by making a small announcement. Our good friend, Mr. William, a compatron of mine, has recently had a success online. Will released a game called Soda Drinker Pro, which he referenced a couple minutes ago. If you go to the website, you'll see it. And I believe, Will, if I'm not correct, you have over 10 million views, and it made it to the front page of CNN.com as the first ever soda drinking simulation. It's true. You walk around, you get to drink a soda and walk to the top of the hill. You can drink a soda and walk around on the beach. You can even drink a soda in space. He's done so well with that. In fact, he's taking a drive to New York City tomorrow to pick up 200 promotional sodas that he had made with the wrapping that you'll see in the game when you download a Soda Drinker Pro. He's one-man band, that's William Brown.
So, let's just see.
Sound, don't forget about sound.
Yeah.
It's a separate jagged detail.
It's already there.
And where's sound?
I got some.
Yeah, the thing is, it actually works on iPhone, but on a PC, it has sound. Yeah. No, it's just sound of a laptop.
Did the thing get muted maybe on the actual projector?
We're good. I heard it on.
Here we go. You can hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see.
I mean, yours doesn't seem to work.
Well, I can listen play it, I guess. You can kind of hear it from there. Listen really carefully. So anyway, so this game, so this is the group of people. We were making this game called Not Alone. And so we had, let's see, we got Alex.
He did all the audio.
Fine. What?
Audio, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Alex, okay. Mariah did art. We got Patrick helped with design and balancing. And then Alexi also helped with level design and did, like design in general as far as concept. And I basically tried to pull it all together. So so this game's called Not Alone, and it's based on the idea that you're in a dark mansion. We didn't have time to get a big backstory. You're basically on the second floor, and you're trying to get out, and there's something chasing you around. And so you're in total darkness.
Present by the end. I hope we can present by the end.
You see anything over there?
Oh,
let's do that.
We're like two.
That's when you lose. Yeah. But basically, you're moving through a series of rooms. Every so often, this ghost-like thing is appearing in various rooms. You can't see. Yeah, I think it's a projector.
Did you put too much hertz on it?
Yeah, that's true. Let's try to check real fast. All right, 60s are a better number to use. 70? Yeah, but you can't go less than that. You can't do 50. Firm there? The staying? Don't touch it. Yeah. Okay.
Use all the hertz.
Okay, it's all about the hertz. So, anyway, yeah.
Why don't you get to see what we're doing?
Yeah, see. They can't produce it.
Nah.
No,
Still
silent.
Anyway.
What happened?
So so this is we basically made this for iPhone, Android. I'll put it in the App Store pretty soon. Just gotta get the screenshots and stuff together. So you basically move from room to room. You can only use your ears, and when again, sorry, so there's a heartbeat going basically, and the heartbeat, every time it pulses, you get a quick glimpse of the environment, and then you move on. And if the monster detects you, then your heartbeat picks up and then starts flashing faster, giving you more feedback, but you're also in a lot of danger and you're trying to flee from the monster. And if you can get away from it and keep away from it long enough, then it basically will lose interest and it'll start appearing randomly in that room. So you go from the second floor down to the first floor, and ultimately trying to get out outside and get away from this place. And so you also have footsteps, which of course you really can't hear, but
There's really scary monster sounds that you can.
Yes. Just use your imagination. So yeah, so as you're walking, you'll hear a really horrible sound too when the monster actually does detect you, and there it comes out of the dark. Heartbeat's faster, getting the hell out of Dodge. Lower it down. Downstairs. Yeah. Of course you can see that. Ah, you got me! You're gonna play with headphones for best effect. So yeah, that's basically the game, and yeah, it was really fun. I was really happy. I think the main thing was we started out. Is everyone else's first game jam? I forget.
Yeah, that's my first.
I've done one before, the Peter Molyneux one, but it's and I've done a lot of 12-hour game jams in the past. But I think we did a good job of basically we knew we had a sort of bare minimum spec game, and that's ultimately what this ended up being.
We had lots of great ideas that we just didn't have time. We wanted to add keys and other things, and it's like, you know, it's just one more hour. I'm sure everybody here was probably feeling the same thing. So
yeah, in my opinion, it's pretty much a blitz to the finish. It's
yeah,
like
you know,
I was cranking out art, like I'd do animations and maps and all that stuff all on my own. It was definitely something that sometimes I wish we had more, either more time or more people to help us out with. But
right.
It was still very, very interesting.
You know, and so the big thing was you provide placeholders.
Yeah.
You know, which would give me something to work with, and then she could polish those.
I'm glad we worked together like that. And
yeah.
Alex always gave us audio to work with and
yep.
design ideas.
Get the sounds coming.
Just one big gigantic party.
Should we try to do something with speakers just to make the feeling that we actually done the sounds there?
Yeah, it's
That's
just,
yeah.
unfortunately, even the sounds are subtle. It really is so. But it'll be free on the App Store and Android and iOS. Might throw it on Windows 8. And just for everyone to check it out. So,
if I recall correctly, Lexi, you were just walking by, and I think you stopped for you smelled the shawarma, and like, what's going on here? It's like, this is a game jam, and it's the first time ever, and you just ended up staying all weekend. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. $15. Well done. Okay, thank you. Not alone. Next is Mechanical Heart, and after that, Heart to Heart.
Anybody else presenting on a Mac? Remember the magic numbers are 1024 by 768, 70 hertz.
There you go.
And our crossed fingers.
Life lesson. A teachable moment.
Alright, so our game is called Mechanical Heart. It's just a top-down platformer about a small gardening robot who wants to bring life to an old, gray, abandoned world. The goal of the game is to help energize him by collecting fuel as he collects seeds to grow plants. But along the way, you have to try to avoid some rolling tumbleweeds. So.
All right. I guess I can talk about where we started and where we went with the idea. The original project was a conglomerate of two ideas that had a lot to do with robots and trying to get hearts or do hardy things. And actually what happened is that was a group of 5 people, and 3 of them just disappeared. So we're here to carry on the dream. Just for some backgrounds, Eva is an artist. She did all the artwork, and I'm technically a sound guy. So this is all my programming as a sound guy. But yeah, some of the difficulties of this was without any sort of designer and the person who pitched the idea disappearing and all that, we had to choose a new direction to go and come up with just what is the point of being this robot, and what makes it interesting, and what makes you not want to just close the laptop and not want to do it. So we think we encompassed a lot of that. We have a robot who, it's kind of a pitiful robot, and you don't know why he's planting plants, but he is, and I guess he's just trying to help the world. So we'll give it a quick play and just see how it goes. Here we go. So here we have our robot credit screen. We have our last person to leave is still in the credits. But, there is sound.
Is it plugged in?
Yes, there's no sound on this screen. Okay. So even though my background's sound, I only got about an hour worth of time to do sound. This is within our physical limits. So here we are, this robot, and you have energy. So when you move, your energy goes down. You want to get these things. These are seeds. That's fuel. So you have more fuel.
I missed the seed, so I didn't get any seed. It went away because I wasn't clicking on it. So you're quickly trying to get more seeds before your heart runs out. Got a seed, planted a tree, my heart starts going up. So you're just trying to plant things. So you may have seen a tumbleweed go across, and just to show you, you don't really want to be in the way. That's the idea. You're just trying to save this rundown planet that no one else obviously cares about. All right.
Well, that's what happens when you die.
Yeah.
Okay, so up next is Heart to Heart, and after that is the Heart Beat 'em Up.
You guys want me to start? Okay. So it started from an original pitch that I had, and then also that Eric had, and we kind of combined them together. And we were wanting to do some sort of like a heart matching thing, and wanted to represent human connection versus disconnection. And we wanted sound to be the primary mechanic, but we kind of had to let that go because it's really tough to sync visuals and animations and sounds all together in a weekend. But we did have a core mechanic that we ultimately kept honing and kept cutting back to get to. And as of this morning, we really had no idea what we were doing, except we had a first playable that was a core mechanic, which you'll see the roots of here. And from there, we built into it a scoring system, and just kind of within like 5 or 6 hours today, kind of like made it into an actual game. Why don't we just play it, and then afterwards, you guys can have a chance to chat. If anybody want to say anything, go for it. We just died. Yeah, somewhere. What is it? 70. You don't
have 70?
No. Okay, here we go. You guys can chat.
70. He doesn't have 70. So, we had a few challenges. I guess the first one was that, okay, we had a few challenges. I guess the first one was that I'm not a super experienced Unity programmer. I've done some Unity projects before, but it had been a really long time since I'd done one. Tom had no Unity experience at all coming into this, so it took him a little while to get up to speed. And so, like, our initial design was a little bit too ambitious for our technical level. So we spent a lot of time basically trying to work out what the right match for design versus technical expertise and like feasibility of execution was. We initially had a few problems with source control, and it kind of was intermittent throughout the time that we were working on it, because Unity is a bit annoying to use with source control, but kind of eventually we worked out what was most likely to cause things to get clobbered, and then just steered clear of that. And then in the end, we did a lot of pair programming as well, which really helped cut down the commit clobbering. I think we quite early had a set of pieces of music that kind of drove the main gameplay. So what we were really trying to do was we were trying to create a situation where there was a symbolic connection between two entities on the screen. When you had that connection going, then you get a harmonious sound, and when the connection wasn't going, then you got a cacophonous sound. And that was the core thing that we kept throughout all of the designs that we iterated through. So, and as you can see,
main gameplay idea is that you're trying to match up the movements of your heart with the movements of the kind of NPC heart. When it happens right, then the sounds get brighter and happier, and and the words come into alignment, and then you get a kind of chime and move on to the next level. And so over time, this becomes harder to do because the heart on the right-hand side moves more erratically and switches between different motions. And so that makes it harder to copy it. If you copy it for long enough, then everything matches up and you move on to the next level. And then over time also, the little quotes about relationships become a little more bitter as things become more difficult to match up. But in the end, if you push through the end, you get a heartwarming ending.
Yeah, well, you get, oh, should we say? Well, you get the John Paul Sartre quote, hell is other people. So it gets weird. But what I think is neat is that, if you see it, what we have here is really simple, and we had a lot of bigger ideas, of course, and it was going to go all over the place. We were going to have these things moving around, like not just animating in one spot, but moving and touching each other and doing things. And once we cut back it and just took what we had and said, well, what's fun about it, what's not, and how do we add a scoring system, and how do we keep track, and how are you winning versus losing? And once we started playing with that, it just kind of came together.
30 seconds.
Yeah, did anybody else have anything to say? I guess we introduce each other. Programmers, Owen and Tom. I did design, so did Eric and Jonathan. We had Ethan that did sound, and Elliot who did art and design.
And Caroline,
oh yeah, Caroline was with us on Friday and was sick, so she could have telecommuted on Skype with us and kept in touch. Yeah. Yeah, the craziest thing was coming in this morning and not even knowing we had a game, and then it turned out okay.
we should probably let people play through the end themselves.
Yeah. There's a tip for those of you that don't know that if you do a web build of Unity and you have Dropbox, if you put that build in your Dropbox folder, that link becomes an active link that you can send anybody that can immediately play it online. So I suggest doing that if you want to share it with me.
All right, up next is Heart Beat 'em Up. After that is Artichoke Heart Beat.
Sorry?
Right click on the screen itself. Click on the actual
Oh, yeah, it's not showing on the screen.
Control click on the screen.
Right click on the game.
No, it's not showing on my computer.
It's not mirroring, so it's really difficult. Yeah, watch.
So our game is a simulation of trying to get your app to run on 2 screens at once. And the feature didn't show. So we're up there talking about how do we avoid running into the same trap. There we go, we got it. Okay, so this game is called Heart Beat 'em Up. You are a heart, and as you are a heart, you have the power to give life, but that means you've also been hurt. You've been hurt so much that you are full of rage. You unleash that rage on those who deserve it, the ones that have hurt you the most. There we go. So for instance, the brain The brain is an existential war between mind and heart. It damages you with headbutts. Then there's butter. Butter is the worst thing ever. Unhealthy food. It flings passive butter at a distance to defeat you one lipid at a time. He just picked up the heart and soul power-up. That means he's attacking with a fish. Soul. Another enemy that will appear from time to time is an X. It's a gigantic letter X. It's the represents the emotional trauma of loves found, and loves lost, and loves that are ended for good. So the object of the game is to fight through all of these defenses, all these outer defenses, these things that have caused you mental or physical or emotional trauma. And eventually, if you can get through the butter... Oh no, you can't get through the butter! I thought you were good at this game. What happened? He's way better at it than I am. So, eventually, when you get through our 3 stages here, you see you have some hit points up there with hearts, and every time you get hit, you lose some. You get through one stage and another in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style, the Final Fight style from the old school in the arcade. There's some bone marrow. There's some obstacles to get around. Is it fair to say that this game is easier to play when you don't have 80 people watching? And now it's time for the final fight. It's a black heart. But he cannot directly hit the black heart, so he has to indirectly damage it. Now the heart's angry, and the 2 hearts are fighting. And now you've defeated the black heart, but unfortunately, you become the black heart. Now you can play the game again, except this time you have half as much life, no power-ups, and then the enemies are harder. And also the bone marrow have turned into tombstones of the dog you killed. Because you cannot escape the emotional trauma of what you've done. It's really an existential Brechtian kind of... So, this game is available now on heartbeatemup.com, and you'll also be able to download it from the DBJ site. There can be only one, and that's it. So that is Heartbeat. You want to talk about challenges? 30 seconds. Okay.
No, it was good. We had fun building this, and yeah.
The biggest thing was I'm a designer, so I wanted to like have score and time and extra levels and extra. And they're like, no, smaller, 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 smaller. You don't need time. You don't need score. And they were right. And
we just added a lot of puns.
yeah, the puns make everything better. All right, that's it. Yeah. All right.
Okay, next is Artichoke Heart Beat. After that is Yarn Ball.
So our game is called Artichoke Heart Beat, and honestly, we didn't know what kind of game it was going to be when we first started. We just had a pun and some people that liked it, and then we figured out what the game was going to be later. And it turns out it's a mobile phone playable device, or actually you can play it on an iPad as well. And so, yeah.
So if you see the the URL that Don has written on the board, you should be able to actually play this on your mobile device right now if you want to play it on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Any mobile device, actually, Android, iPhone, iPad.
So go ahead, we can take a moment. bit.ly/heartbeat with 2 E's, not EAT. Oh, yes, sounds so.
Okay, so sorry. I thought that we were going to show the intro scene, but we have some.
I'll refresh it.
Okay. Let's see if it works this time. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh. Well, anyway, so basically you are an artichoke and you are following your heart to find your beat. And it's essentially a hide-and-go-seek romance game where I can't even. Dawn, you're gonna have to take over.
Oh yeah, sure thing. So yeah, we just had a title that was too good of a pun to not turn into a game, which, you know, could have been a huge risk, and we decided to roll with it. So you are an artichoke heart, finding your beat, finding love, and chasing through the various levels until you catch them enough times so that... So yes, it's a game about forced love.
It's about a deadbeat
Reluctant love.
Reluctant love.
So, I don't know, I guess in terms of my perspective, I did a bit of an art / animation role. Don here did a lot of the designs that you see in the graphic artwork. Sean Yu came through he joined the team a little bit halfway through yesterday, was it?
Yeah.
To help us out with programming. And then we had Ben do most of the programming as well, and we had audio from both Daniel and, I'm sorry, Ken.
So Ken did the wedding sound effect, very important, and also an intro one. And this one that you're hearing now, kind of mellow. Maybe this is the honeymoon theme. We came in here, obviously we didn't come into the jam wanting to make an artichoke beat game necessarily, but
who does?
It turned out that way, and we're very happy about how it turned out. We did want to come in though and make a ubiquitous mobile web game. So we used an exciting new technology that's just been released by Adobe named Create.js, Create.js Toolkit. And what it allows you to do is all of the animations that you saw here are running in the browser without a plugin. And all of the SVG animations, CSS animations, are authored in Flash by these guys. So it's a very, very exciting tool, and it's really what enabled us to allow you to play this game on any one of your devices. So please feel free to play it. Have fun.
And so things that went well, I think the audio was great. Maybe halfway through yesterday, we had a theme, and that kind of kept us going for a long time. I had it on loop on my headphones, and the character design and the entire story. So, but the programming was also quite. I don't know if you guys want to talk about the challenges that you guys had in the area. But
Every Global Game Jam we try to use a different engine to make our games. So we've done lots of Unity games and things like that, but we wanted to really change it up. So I've never made a game really with this before. I looked at the technology before, but it was my first time. And I don't know if you...
Yeah, I mean, the amazing thing about this is just that it just works, because I used to be an ActionScript programmer, and this is all done in JS, and somehow it just works because it just interfaces perfectly well with Flash, which is just doesn't make sense how you can. It's just crazy. You can actually access all the movie clip instances. For those of you who worked with Flash before, you can access all of it, even though it doesn't use a plugin at all. So it exports all the information from Flash, and all the layers, no matter how deep it is, with complicated animations, it just works.
So that runs on HTML5 on the iPhone?
Yeah. Well, there's a separate wrapper that I use for packaging it on phones, but yeah, the animation data is running without a plugin. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, everyone.
Up next is Yarn Ball, and then after that, To the Heart.
Yarn Ball team, and we were originally the Carpe Diem team, but we kind of changed our idea some part of the way through. Had an idea where you're shrinking life, so we changed it up to be you're now a yarn going through a labyrinth, and you're trying to find your way through. And I guess I'll just stop explaining it, like have it be played.
So it's very small. It's meant for phones. So got some good 8-bit tunes going on. So, so the original idea with Carpe Diem was that basically you had a limited number of steps. Every step you took, you would lose a heart, and if you ran out of hearts, that was the end. So we, in our brainstorming, talked about all sorts of stuff, Greekness, you know, the emotional content of string. Basically came with the idea that, you know, this concept felt a lot like a ball of yarn unraveling. So basically, as you move forward, you will leave some yarn behind. Oh. And the kind of one core concept that we didn't get in was your ball yarn is supposed to get smaller as you go. So you're seeing the ball unravel. As it stands, it stays the same size. When you get to another point, another blue point, your yarn will gather up. So the idea is to figure out where to go in the maze.
And in case it's not clear, in this particular level, you can go 7 steps, and it's on the 7th step that you have to land on a spot in order for it to ravel back in and for you to then proceed from that point. So it's kind of a puzzle game. You almost have to figure out how to get to that yellow dot up close to the top of the screen by navigating these dots. It's tough to remember sometimes.
My name is Sin, and I did the art.
Oh, I'm Alex. I did more audio. Little goofy chip tune.
I'm Ryan. I did the design.
I'm Jake. I did a lot of the programming. We decided to work it in processing, which is a neat toolkit that's built on top of Java. And it was kind of a first experience making a whole game and something like that, but it ended up working out. There were some tough troubles along the way, but
Yeah.
pulled through.
One challenge we had, I'm also a programmer, so we had to figure out kind of, you know, what technology to use. I'm coming from Flash background, takes more kind of general purpose.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Yeah. So we ended up making a level designer in Flash and trying to port or, you know, export the data for him to pick up, and that turned into kind of a, you know, blessing and a curse. It was a good idea. It didn't work out quite as well as we hoped. Very sad. So yeah, that's us. That's Yarn Ball.
Okay, one quick amendment. We had I did have To the Heart next, but I'm just going to swap them with J.J. Abrams slots. There's a car waiting outside, and To the Heart will be right after that. I hope you don't mind. Just another 5 minutes. So next is J.J. Abrams slots, and then To the Heart right afterwards.
There's no car waiting, because why don't you explain why you have to go? Spend all the money we made on this game? Yeah.
Thank you for being patient.
All right. So, my name is Alex Schwartz.
There's Ivan Scott.
We're going to show you something. So, you may have noticed a trend in a lot of open mobile platforms these days, like Google Play and App Store, some blatant spamming. And so, yeah, open is a questionable term there. So, you know, there are people out there, sometimes these Russian spammers or Chinese spammers, they're making wholesale copies of and reskins of games. And so this complicates App Store discovery. It floods the stores with useless content. How many man-hours went into making these duplicate games that are spamming the store? So we saw that travesty, and we thought, what a shameful waste of time. Let's do that.
So we made a slot machine, and everybody loves J.J. Abrams, so check it out. This is J.J. Abrams slots.
It's more Lens Flare.
This is Lens Flare.
Welcome to J.J. Abrams slot. J.J. Abrams.
Okay, all right, that's it. So that's J.J. Abrams slots, and that's great. And you know, we put a lot of work into that. It's a good thing.
There's things spinning.
Yeah, and noises and music and talking. And so, how long do you think it would take to say? I mean, J.J. Abrams was great, but there's stuff Spielberg. There are other subjects.
Yeah.
How long do you would think to take your favorite subject and make another slot machine?
I don't know, Zybo. Maybe a day, 2 days, a weekend, something like that.
Okay. What if I told you all you had to do was wish it?
All right, so can we get a pop culture icon or a location or a feeling or an emotion or something from the crowd? Britney Spears. Kardashian. Dinosaur. What do you do with Kardashian? Why don't you try that? Make sure you spell that right.
Kardashian.
Do you have safe searching? Do it.
Kardashian slot. Kardashian.
So we've done all this work to make the Kardashian slots, but you know there's and that was exhausting. But there's a lot of work still that goes into if you're gonna do a number of these. The App Store, there's these descriptions and there's these screenshots. It's a lot of time. What if I told you that we had all that covered? This cranks out a folder with properly aspect ratioed screenshots. Nice artistic camera shifts to get us the Kardashian slot. Afraid to see what icon it picked. We're a little.
That's all right.
The icon's a little off. That's the icon. So we have those pictures all ready to go for the App Store. And all right. So as an example, we already have one ready to go here. This is Valentine's slots, just to avoid the time of uploading actual APK. But I get here, I have my product listing. I got to check all these. I got to check all these boxes. So it produced a Selenium script file. Here we go. 3D Valentine slots free. Oh, fully animated, high definition 3D animated slots. Latest Valentine's game. This is great.
Yep.
And pricing and distribution. Oh, a bunch of checkboxes there. Let's just hit those checkboxes. I didn't actually do it.
30 seconds.
It works.
30 seconds.
That's all we'll need. Oh, there's something wrong with the store listing. Something wrong with the store listing. Or did I not hit save?
Screenshots?
Oh, they're there. Screenshots? Oh, the categories. Categories.
obviously.
You know, it's not, we got it automated, but we didn't.
Amateur.
Oh, buddy. And save. Oh.
Website.
Oh, privacy URL. You have to check the box. Alexis says no.
Okay, so
no privacy URL.
Thank you. So for the dramatic ending, we would submit this to the Google Play Store. Publishing.
Published.
All right, the game is available on the Android App Store.
We did that 6 hours ago. 3D football slots HD free. Go get it now. It's already out. Be sure to click on the ads.
Yes.
I can't believe we have to follow that.
Thank you. We can't promise anything after that, guys.
Thank you for the patience. To the Heart. This is To the Heart, and after that is Sound Maze.
So we were the team that started out as Nom. I came up and gave my plea to save these guys' game, and they came back.
We had no faith.
The original game, they proposed something where you go out in the real world and a heartbeat leads you to a place. And then they had the idea of an AR heart that you'd actually look for and find and eat, since, you know, heartbeats.
Oh my god.
So we left some of those ideas, but I think they stayed kind of similar to that idea.
Yeah, so our game is kind of like a hybrid game. It's similar to the kitten game almost as you get closer to the landmark that you're trying to get to. You put headphones in and the heart starts to get stronger and stronger. You hear it. We actually practiced one earlier today and it basically worked, which is exciting.
Basically.
We actually found the landmark that we were looking for. When you arrive at that particular landmark, and this is all out in the different area, there's an MIT one, and we were developing a Brookline one as well. When you get to that particular spot, the heart kind of gets real excited, and then like some more information comes out, and it's
Okay.
tells you that. Yeah.
So that's cool and everything. Because those are screenshots, and screenshots are fun. But so a couple of technical bits of this, and then we'll go to an actual kind of demo. So one of the back-end parts of this is we used a Django.
Yeah, it was Django, Python, and PostGIS. So we can add here the arts and the adventures. There are
We could make like 100 more adventures now.
Yeah,
All we need is pictures and
picture and
coordinates.
description and coordinates. So I mean, we can add levels on the go.
And the way it works is there's an adventure, and then there's any number of like single heart locations that you find within the adventure.
Yeah. So this would ideally be on your phone, because phones move. And so one of the hard parts about this was coming up with how we're exactly going to do the presentation, because we can't take you all outside and go to where the actual places are, because that would be really difficult. Instead, we're going to cheat.
I was at those places though.
Yeah, he did all the scouting.
But believe us, it actually does work.
So we say, you know, we want to go exploring around MIT, and we want to have fun with it and listen to a heartbeat. And first we have this little red music done by our sound person. And then so
we're far.
Yeah, we're very far
So
away.
we're far away from it, so you can really not hear the heart. But the idea is that as you get closer to it, you can hear this little heartbeat, and the heartbeat gets louder and louder as you get close to it.
And here you have a progress bar and an enigmatic hint.
Do our MIT people know what that clue is for? Yeah, hopefully.
Yep, and then
Yeah, pretend we actually went to that location.
So we're walking, and then all of a sudden we get this pounding heart. So we click on it.
And then
you find out some new and exciting information about it.
And then you can keep going, and eventually you get to the end of it, and you have fun. And so it was kind of an idea of, you know, you're following this sort of hot and cold heartbeat game, but you're doing it in the real world. You can explore some new places. You can find some cool new things about places you didn't know.
Ideally, in an end game, later development scenario, this would sort of become more of a social thing. You could log in, you would have the points you saw earlier would matter, you level up and become a better traveler, adventurer, and you'd be able to submit your own adventures for other people to go on and listen to their headphones while they're walking around finding stuff out about the world. So, yeah.
We used jQuery Mobile. I designed and Sam did the front end.
Yeah, I work on, I made the backend and the audio. So the good thing about when you have to find this art is you put your headphone and essentially the frequency of the beats is proportional to the distance, but as well the volume. So when you get close, that starts to beat really fast. And another thing that we added is as well the pan. So you can kind of understand where is the art, rotating your phone, and then you follow up the
So it would
location.
be in this year and it would tell you to go
Yeah,
to
so it's here.
hypothetically.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to try it themselves, they can go to totheheartofit.com. That's where it is. Select an adventure. The MIT one's all around here. Wander around, listen to a heartbeat, and have some fun. So thanks.
Steve stepped up, not being a game guy at all.
Yeah, thank you for your patience with me. I'm an educator. I learned a lot today, and they were. I researched, and they really were supportive. Thank you guys.
And these guys are all programmers, and they were pushing and pulling and communicating well. Luca's still working on code on a piece of paper up there, so it's a good team.
Thank you. Okay, only 6 left. We're going to have Sound Maze, and then after that, Empathy Wolf.
6. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to mention colorblind accessibility. Put it on the website.
All right, my name is Tim Volpe, and this is Daniel Perry. So we made a game called Sound Maze. The original pitch was the idea of using sound to navigate through a maze. So first half of the game, you're navigating through what appears to be, first-person, labyrinth-style maze. And then you hit this checkpoint, and suddenly, the original pitch was then the visual still stays, but there's another maze that you're inside where it's invisible walls. Some walls so you could turn around and you try to exit the point you just passed through, but there's a wall there, and so you can suddenly pass through the walls that you can actually see. So we, luckily enough, the prototype came together pretty well yesterday, fairly early in the evening. So we found kind of through the first plate, through that navigating through the invisible maze was very frustrating because we just trained the player to navigate through sight. So now they were still pushing against invisible walls, and it wasn't very intuitive. So so we changed it up so now everything just kind of goes dark, and you almost have to rely either. And the maze itself is actually different, so you can't just memorize your way in and then walk your way out. You have to follow the audio cues, or at least try to, because that system is not as robust as...
We're still working on the threshold to actually... one of the difficulties that we had is like, what does the wall sound like? You need to be aware when you're close to the wall, and you need to be to know when you actually touch a wall that you need to move to a different location. What we ended up doing, and you'll see, I hope, in the video, and that's when Unity was very, very helpful. The fact that you can attach sound to a specific object and hear it around you while you move was very helpful. Yeah, we didn't have an artist. So the first part, all visual, the sound is just for the experience, not for the gameplay itself.
You can't bump into the wall, so there's kind of, the world changes, the atmosphere changes. We did make some help, some visual help. It's really hard to see on this. The skies are actually lit. So we changed it so that when you bump into the walls, there's this kind of mystical ping noise that they have different random tones to. And you can, I don't know if you can quite see that, but there's, you can see off in the distance, there's the goal of the, you can kind of see. And so we also have, part of the playthrough, we found that some people might have difficulty and get lost. So there is a limited amount of these kind of flashes.
So you do get 3 flashes in which you can show the way, and where's the wall now?
Well, it was working, I'm not sure it's working.
Well, we had sounds for the wall. So it's actually went, oh, here it was.
Well, they know
Oh, you're literally not close to walls.
So as you
get close to walls. No,
30 seconds.
Well, there's a whooshing noise that you...
A whoosh noise that gets louder and louder the more you get closer to the wall itself. So you can literally navigate through the world without touching the wall, just by using those sounds.
And you can hear the heartbeat kind of as you're far off, so as you get close, you've got the thing. Game over, you win, yeah. What went well, it was a very simple idea, and even though I was the only programmer and the only artist, and I didn't have much Unity experience, but a little bit, so it was fortunately a very easy build, and I have to give props to Mike and Alex too, to help me out some of the coding and stuff. And lighting, the version control is easy because it's all in my system. I don't have to worry about it or anything. So.
Okay, Empathy Wolf is next, and then EKG Runner.
So, the pitch was Max's. That's Jeremy, he did art. Max did programming. I'm Seth, I did design, and then ended up mostly programming. The first thing that went wrong was we worked together. I worked with Jeremy and I lived with Max. We all came here trying to sort of branch out, but it didn't end up that way. But it actually ended up working out pretty well because we were able to sort of we all know each other, so we were all able to get along and nail down the scope to a pretty manageable and pretty well identify what was core and what was nice to haves that we correctly identified as optional, and we didn't do. Max, do you want to talk a little bit about the initial pitch?
Yeah, so what it kind of started off as was a game where you had to interact with sort of NPCs to empathize with them. That's where the empathy in Empathy Wolf comes from. And the wolf is the challenge, essentially, that you're traveling through a forest that's infested with wolves, and you talk to people or do something to them to help them. They'll follow you, and you have to lead them out of the woods, is the goal.
So we kind of took that and nailed it down as the woods as a sort of pseudo maze, and you can explore it and find people as you go along, and you have to avoid wolves, but the trees were both obstacles, and as you can see, there's sort of 3 different depth layers there, and there's actually more than that. You can move between the parallax layers, or supposed to be parallax, can end up that way.
The woods layers.
the woods layers, and like if you have a trail of people and you try and move down, and some people get blocked by a tree, then you lose all the people behind you. So it's about sort of trying to manage your party size and get as many people out of the woods as possible. So we were able to nail that down really quickly and pretty solidly. Our design doc didn't change at all really over the course of the weekend, but we did have some trouble wrangling the tech.
Yeah, so we were using enchant.js, which I had never used before. And it seems like they have really great documentation if you speak Japanese, which is really an issue. So, you know, they have this full-featured API, but all of the descriptions of their methods and whatnot are all totally in Japanese, which I didn't know when I started programming it, because, you know, you can kind of get into it. So the decision to stick with that may have caused us a lot of trouble, really.
We didn't finish.
Yeah, the game is not so much a game, it's an interactive experience.
It's a walking through the woods simulator.
Yeah, as you can see, the wolves are present. They like to scoot backwards a lot.
Something we did get together though is moving between the different layers, and the trees do act like a functional maze. They block you depending on what layer you're on, and they you can see that black tree when you move becomes that mid-gray tree that's actually blocking you. So it does actually translate in depth.
Because Max was struggling with getting the tech online, Jeremy ended up blocked for a lot of Saturday, which was one of our biggest downfalls, I think. I spent Saturday morning sort of laying out the level. So you can also pick up these people and they'll follow you.
Yeah, you get the little ladies to follow you around the woods full of harmless wolves.
And I think, yeah.
As a very fat man.
So I spent Saturday morning doing using Notepad++ to make a WYSIWYG level editor in a text file by defining a custom highlighting scheme. We had kind of hoped to provide the user with a way to upload their own maps so they could just generate their own levels. And I was like, well, so we have a really solid design doc, and I made this level now. I guess I'll just be iterating on the level and really polishing it a whole bunch because I signed up as a designer. But then we realized that Max was not going to be able to finish all of it because we didn't really have anything that you could interact with until about 2 o'clock on Saturday. So I jumped in and picked up JS and helped out with some of the gameplay side stuff.
I wrote a block of code today.
Yeah, and even Jeremy got his hands dirty. So we didn't quite finish everything, but I think we did a pretty good job with keeping it in scope.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you did a great job with the art.
Okay, up next is EKG Runner, and then Archers after that. After that is Elementia, then Zombie Beats, and we're done. So 4 left.
So, EKG Runner. It's been a long day, I'm exhausted, everybody's exhausted. So play the game. First time I've seen that bug today. So, there were some difficulties. So there were some difficulties that we had. The biggest one was the collision detection. You can see kind of at the initial there was some bugs where the guy wasn't really walking or running. He was more of popping constantly. What we are actually ending up doing is, based upon the opacity of the pixels on an image, generating the collision detection. And I manually wrote the collision detection for this piece. And that was the biggest problem that I ended up running into. And I got that working probably by 1 o'clock yesterday. So from then on, it was just iterating, adding more features and more features and more features. So at this point, you are a middle-aged man running around, and you're literally running through your life. So you start off as a young child, get to middle age, and if you can beat that, you have save points. So every time you reach a new age, you end up getting a save point. So if you die, you can go back to the previous spot. It's all synced up with the music, so the music will change. Kevin did a really good job making the music and all the different sound effects for it. There's a couple other things that we're still missing in it. But overall, we game tested a lot. So a lot of people have seen this. There's a lot of really good feedback. The best piece was the Mario style jumping. It fixed everything. Made the controls just really, really responsive. And now you're an old man running around with your cane. And let's see if you can beat it. It gets significantly harder.
I get really nervous. Oh my god. Don't screw up. My camera?
I hear a lot of stories of people watching you.
Are the percentages? Don't do it.
So the percentages are actual percentages through the game, but you could consider them to be your age. Yeah, I've never actually thought of that.
I've never read it before. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Then you die at 100.
I got it 98.2.
No!
So it's Impact, so it's just JavaScript in the browser, and it's ekgrunner.com, so feel free to check it out.
What happens when you get to 100?
When you get to 100, it says you win, and the entire game reverses, and it plays through in reverse everything that you just played through. I don't keep track of their jumping, but it actually just shows the heartbeats of the person.
Very hexagon.
Okay, Archers is next, then Helvetia, then Zombie Beats.
Hey everybody, it's been a long time. Appreciate your patience. Hopefully this VGA thing will go quick. So this was a pitch, Harker was a pitch by me, named by Ryan, and I think our final product is pretty close to the original vision of just making a fun kind of two-player game. Or it wasn't two-player, but a kind of classic style. I did a tech check, and it was working before. Any ideas, guys? This is it was straightforward before.
Used to work, I swear.
I can't see, but is your iPad on the home screen or is it locked?
It's on the home screen.
Okay.
And it worked. Yeah.
No.
What happened?
Sonic flickering on the projector.
Sound works.
So I just put on the mirror.
Yeah, mirror.
Last time it just worked. So actually, I'm going to go back here and then load one more time so you see the nice title screen we have. So So yeah, we're pretty good as a team. Actually, Bart here is all the way from North Carolina. You should totally see his portfolio, have him do some yo-yo tricks. And yeah, I had this concept. I wanted something that's just fun and had a nice sense of motion to it. So, as you can see, you just fly around. And also, one of the things that influenced the decisions was how fun it was to, or kind of having multi-touch was very important. So we went from thinking about maybe an online game, which would be out of our range, to something that's still head-to-head, and so both people can die. So we're able to do a pretty complete and fun game. I think we listened to each other really well. I had a really this is actually coming down from online. I actually did a kind of continuous deployment system where it saved auto FTP up, and then when you loaded the page, a Perl script actually assembles it. And you can see just by putting in a lot in there, it ends up being kind of a fun game, and obviously it's upside down for one person or right side up for the other at the same time. Or both people have the correct view. Sorry. This is written in Processing.js, which is kind of sweet. It's if you like programming in Java, it's really, really easy. It uses my own sound library, Lowlag. Something in it has a mysterious tendency that if you let it just sit and run, it will completely lock up your iPad. It's so responsive, but you can't go back to the home screen, which I'm pretty proud of for a web-based application. That's pretty good. And so again, it's called Harchers, and it's at harchers.alienbuild.com. We had our sound man Ken there, and our art guy, Bart, who really did some really fantastic stuff there. And I think in all, it's just kind of a neat experience of going head to head, using really neat mechanics. I think there's a lot that could happen with this. I tend to start with a toy, and then build a game around that, and I think it kind of worked out here. So.
Then it's not BB.
Hey guys, I know it's very late and we're very tired and sleepy. But this game was the old. We were previously known as Periodic Tangle, and we changed our name because the town that the elements live in is called Elementia.
We'll let it speak for itself a little bit.
It's an adventure-based game. Based on a mystery murder that happens in the town of Elementia. And you played that guy right there.
Oh, sorry. I probably need to exit it for the sound to...
So there's going to be
Sound
a
on my computer.
little bit of reading, but hopefully you'll enjoy it.
And originally we had a sort of educational idea, but it ended up just being a bunch of chemistry puns because the teaching element is hard.
We were having too much fun with the puns. We found some cat on Reddit that had all these puns.
So there's the noble gases have a lavish New Year's party every New Year's, and here is where they live. This is a bush party. And this is the opening scene.
We have a cat that's your butler.
Yes.
Welcome to you.
The cat is sort of amazing. Every so often its eyes roll. So, programmatically, thankfully we figured out pretty quickly that there was already an adventure game maker. And since both of us were first-time programmers who'd never done a game before, Brendan's not here, but he was here until the end of Dead. So that's wonderful. We decided that we would go with that instead of trying to do HTML5. So I can move around the room.
You're Mr. Carbon, you're a Mr. Detective, and everyone's really happy you're there. You're going to figure out who killed Mr.
Carbon, you see, is friends with everybody. So, let's talk to this pink person. This is Ms. Gold. And we ended up for version control using one computer.
So, yes.
what happened is basically one of us would be researching how to do the next thing that the next feature we were going to do, while the other person was coding the last feature. So that worked really well, and I felt I'm not sure how one would.
So the idea is you don't have a lot of knowledge about chemistry, and it's not really designed for people our age except for the puns. We're hoping kids will take something away from it.
Or that it'll be a fun toy. And what would you do differently next time? Let's start with that.
Oh, a lot of things. This game, I basically went in, I love chemistry, I love puns, and I pitched it as a mystery murder mystery? Right. And I've never designed a game before, so this has been a great experience for me, working with a developer, 2 developers, artists. It's been just fantastic. Next time I would go in with a better game design idea, with more levels and what game design entails, basically. But thankfully my partners and my team was very, very helpful, and they guided me through the process.
Yeah, I actually didn't think much. It's common that you come in with an idea and just have to cut it. And we didn't actually have to cut it as much as I feared we would, thanks to the engine.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in there. You guys have to go in and
we spent a lot of time writing, actually.
Yeah, I think for 3 days we all sat down and wrote jokes.
What went well?
That's pretty great.
What went well was that everybody, Chip is the artist. He did a great job of making everything look kind of berserk.
Yeah, we're like, awesome. Dude, make them weird, and he was like, all right, I got it.
Because they're elements, and then you can talk to the cat.
So what ends up happening is, do you want to, has it been
no. The cat is the butler, and
okay, you have to listen to him. He's really clever.
Okay. So basically, everyone worked well together. Everyone was willing to pitch in. So the basic conceit is you talk to everyone, you flag something, you're able to go into the next room, pick up an item, run a chemistry test to find out who the culprit is.
Actual chemical tests. So you do learn something.
And then you finish the game, and it's complete, and it works, and what would I add to it? More chemistry jokes. But, but I'm very pleased with the engine, and
yeah, it was a good engine. Feel free to send us more puns or anything that we could add. We really had fun just making it, so it's great to be here.
Lots of fun. Thank you.
Alrighty, and back at last to Zombie Beats.
Don't jinx us, don't jinx us.
I gotta say, it's really cool to see somebody using Adventure Game Studio. I used to love that.
Alright guys, this is the last one. First of all, I'll take the time to say thank you guys so much for coming to this gym. This is the second time I've been to this and this site, and it's always been one of my favorite points of the year. I'm stressed, I'm tired. As soon as I get in my apartment, I'm gonna crash for until Tuesday. But just thank you guys so much for making this so much fun. Thank you guys for sticking around and everything. Just thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Great for running. Yeah. Audio. Thank you. And it looks like my aspect ratio may be funky, but at this point, I don't care.
We can see it, George, actually.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I'm going to execute it, and then I'm going to just step away. Oh, shit, wireless mouse.
I'm pretty used to using the trackpad, but yeah, it's just...
All right, I'm going to try it without one, try it full screen. What you got to do.
Everybody think really positive thoughts.
So all the artwork is Lee, with a whole lot of help from Curtis.
Yeah, you did the splash screens.
I'm sorry, Cal. So the idea is you use the arrow keys to move around, then you use the mouse to look. And so you're in darkness. Do we have sounds?
Sound. Oh shit! I muted it earlier.
Sound.
Sound. And there
Sound is
are,
pretty important
sound is
because,
pretty important. And there's heartbeats.
There are zombies and victims, survivors. And the idea is that they each have a distinctive heartbeat, and you have to find the survivors by their heartbeats while it's playing.
Oh,
shit.
So again, that little indication here is a victim. Oh yeah, that's a victim. Victim's out there somewhere in the zombies. Poor guy, I don't know what he's doing there. So
Yeah, this guy's much better at playing it than I am. So.
Yeah, so he designed the levels. We actually have a really rudimentary design way of doing things. So there's a text file that you can open. It's just got a bunch of numbers and a grid that you can change to add columns and walls and stuff.
Here we go. Cool, so there I am. After I get 3 survivors, I have to come back to the save point here. So, okay. So this maze somewhere around here is on. There's a guy. There's a guy. Look at that poor guy. Just standing
We actually have tons of audio assets that were never used. We scoped big, and well, that's what we were doing.
Someone's coming. Something's coming. I don't like it. Thank you.
If I had thought about it, I would have put the main character on a Segway.
Oh gosh.
Floating zombie.
Let's find a way out. I think the victim is Faith, guys, faith.
Don't go in the basement!
Don't worry, guys, we're doing that.
Hey! Thank you.
Careful with this guy.
So when you hear the fast heartbeat, the fast heartbeat is supposed to let you know that there's a zombie nearby. Why zombies have fast heartbeats, we're not really sure, but...
Now I've got all of them, now I gotta get out. I think I'm good, I think I'm good. Have we survived? I think we did.
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen. Wait.
Hey, thanks for sticking around. Let's get some beer.
Before you leave, we have words from Carl. Where'd you go again? I'm here. There you are. Come on down.
So, just to explain them, maybe I should plug in my project so you have my contact information later on. I made a game too. No. I enjoyed the weekend off while you guys worked very hard. My presentation is about 2 hours long. And I'll quickly talk about the roadmap of us and try to get this work here. Okay. So, yes, I'm from Unity Technologies. I work for them. So my name is Carl Conrad. I used to work in AAA on games, and then later on indie. But I'm very excited to see that half of you used Unity, so half of you saw a light, the other half still needs a hard lesson. I'm not going to explain too much. You guys are game dev guys, you understand what game development is. So I wanted to announce also Unite in Vancouver this year. It's who has been to Unite before? Only 3 people? Alex, where are you?
You had to run FBI.
You left to go drinking, yeah. Okay. 4 people. Who went to Unite. Unite is actually our annual user group where we have dev guys flying in and people who worked on games. I think you spoke already.
Yeah.
You spoke at Unite, where people share how they made games and their problems, but also everybody of dev team is there. So just bring your laptop with your project and they help you to fix it. Okay. So that's really cool. Last year it was in Amsterdam. I don't have to say much what happened there. But this year it will be at Vancouver, so if you can make it, come over. It will be the last days from August, and our Americas team will be there. Before the last years I have been mainly in Asia for Unity, and from now on I'm dedicated to North America, so we'll be coming quite a bit to Boston, except in the winters. Okay? I actually live in Canada, but I'm only 15 days a year home because I'm avoiding the cold weather. Just to let you know, for people who didn't use Unity, and this is one of the most important pictures, this was the early days of Unity. I was founded by 3 indie guys who made a game that was not all too good, I would say. But the technology was amazing. And that's what always will stand out for Unity and our beliefs. It is not created by like 3 business guys, it's created by 3 guys who truly believe in the indie community to make it easy for you guys to make games. And that's why we're never going to change that. Oh, yeah, running with, that's not a problem. There's not much slides. I just wanted to point out that it's really great to see the work here of Unity, but I always okay, you're going to just give it up that. But it's always great to see that we see people from the local community like Alex and Elliot creating games that are really standing out. So that's really great, and that's why I'm going to support it. I wanted to point out that we also announced Windows 8 support. So this is in beta, and we will continue to bring it out very soon. There are already games, people who made already games in iOS, just really port them for Windows. So if you made games already in Unity and you want to port them to Windows, let us know. We have a closed beta, and maybe we can talk about that. But I just want to quickly talk about the roadmap also for Unity. I see already people like that. So I heard sometimes here version control problems. I totally understand that. From Unity, we listen to our community. It's very important. So one of the things that we bring is nested prefabs, so that you can be working on prefab, you can be working on prefab, and it goes all in one scene. So that will help you to work in teams. Unity was created with the philosophy from Indy, from 2-3 people working together. But we never expected the success of 5 people, 10 people working together, 100 people working together. That's why we implemented nested prefabs. And for version control, we're going to give you also access. And right now, we have access to the API for like SVN, Perforce, but it's not the greatest integration yet. So we're working on a fully integration where you can nicely check in, check out, and have a nice menu directly into Unity. Who from you has already used Mechanim here? Only one saw the light. Okay. Check it out. It's an amazing system. And what do you think about that?
It's good for characters.
Yeah, it's a great system to controlling character animations and blend them easily without you always have to make animations. You can get them from the library too. And we're also looking for more platforms. I don't know what it will be, but we're really working hard on that. Okay. But the benefit that you stayed through my 5 minutes boring talk, I'm going to grab my phone here and I'm going to call my girlfriend. No. I'm going to generate randomly a number. Okay. And we have you all in a database. And there's 106 people here. So if I random generate a number, between that person gets a free Unity Pro license. Okay. And again, it's my number, and number 1. So I'm going to click this button, and then click, and it's number 30. And number 30 is Carl Collowart.
Michael Carrera.
Carrera.
Carl, I already own 2 copies of Unity.
Okay. He's giving the license to me. Thank you so much. I really do. Okay, we're gonna do it one more time. And the number is number 20.
Alex Schwartz. This is
no.
I'm next.
Gentlemen, number 33.
Shedahofstein.
I will need your contact information so I can provide with the licensing. So if you want me to come back to Boston or to your school or to your company or anywhere in the Americas, just ping me on my email and I come over. So I prefer southern during the winter months, and when it gets hot, I'm up north, okay? Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.
All right, that's it. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. And check your emails.
That was funny.
That was hilarious.
It's rigged. I think you're weighted more heavily if you went to Unite.